This episode of Besties is brought to you by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Oh my gosh, dude. On the way over here, I literally almost crashed. And the only thing that kept me calm was knowing that I had State Farm.
Oh my gosh, girl, I have another network. And let me tell you, no, I need to feel safe, protected. And I don't feel that way at all.
Yeah, dude, you should totally switch over.
Yeah, but I also have my house. I have my car.
They have so many coverage options, RVs, boats, anything that's important to you, they got you.
Wow. Honestly, it's really important to me because I want to make sure that the things that I care the most about are protected.
With a State Farm agent, you know someone is there to help protect your future and find what fits for you.
I know, but I've been so busy lately, I really don't have the time to go in the office.
Girl, you don't even have to worry about that because State Farm lets you do it your way. Whether that's going into the office, over the phone, on statefarm.com, or with their award-winning app.
You know what? Let me go ahead and just get that quote right now then, because I'm ready. I'm ready to transfer. Let's go.
Talk to your agent to choose the coverage you need. Have coverage options to protect the things you value most.
File a claim right on the State Farm mobile app. Reach a real person when you need to talk to someone. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Dale, Mr. 305, Mr. Worldwide, the one, the only. Don't get a motherfucking twist if you're looking on the camera and you're not sure who this is. Welcome back to IE and Mr. Worldwide. I don't know if there is an I in, well, Mr. if you spell it out. So this is IE and Mr. Worldwide. Dale, today we're Pitbull. What's up? I'm Pitbull Isis.
I'm Mr. 305 Steph. And we're here with a great friend of mine, John.
I'm not worldwide. I'm very local.
Not yet.
But happy
That's not what I
here.
heard.
Yeah, not yet, y'all. You just came back from being Mr. Worldwide.
Oh,
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
where'd you just come back
Technically.
from?
I was in Italy.
Oh,
I was in Italy for like a week and a half with my girlfriend. And then it low-key was when, y'all remember when that like computer crash happened at all the airlines?
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
So we
Stop.
left the day that happened. We land in Rome, and all my like uncles are hitting me like, "Are you good? Are you good? Whatever." And I was like, "What are y'all talking about?" And it's like, "Oh, everything crashed." And I was like, "Sucks to suck, bro." Like we
Right.
beat it, not thinking that on the way back,
stop.
everything is like backed up.
Delayed.
So we're there a week. We end up going like Rome, Amalfi Coast, Florence to
Oh my
Venice.
God, I've been dying to go to Amalfi Coast.
Super beautiful. It was. We almost died out the Amalfi Coast. We can get into that. But low key, like we're flying from Venice, and it's like, all right, fly Venice to London, London to LA back home, and flights at 6 a.m. We're out all night because we're like, fuck it, like we're gonna be tired anyway. Get an email at 3 a.m. Your flight's canceled. So we call. We're like, what are y'all talking about? And they're
Stop.
like, so
What
check-
time is your flight to leave?
5 a.m. So they're like, look, your flight from Venice to London is cool, but your flight from London to LA is canceled. And I was like, all right, that sucks. So like what? We got to be in the airport like 12 hours. It's Sunday. And they're like, your next flight is Tuesday. And I was like, Tuesday? We're not from here. Like, what do you mean? So they're like, what do you want to do? So me and my girlfriend are talking, take like 2 minutes. And in the 2 minutes, the woman's like, okay, all the Tuesday flights are gone now. Now it's Wednesday. And I was like, all right, just
Book us
it.
on the next over.
So we were stuck in London. But then we were like, we're stuck in London.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know.
You're stuck in London.
Yeah.
You could do some shit in London.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
were bopping
Who's a
around
London
little
boy?
bit.
How? Well, no, that's not appropriate song, probably.
That's my go-to karaoke song.
Really?
American Boy by Steph. Is that what you're saying?
You're lying right
That's
now.
my go-to.
You're on God. That is my go-to karaoke song.
We could do it right now.
That is literally bar for bar.
Bar
That
for
is
bar.
my bar for bar. Someone play it right now.
Okay.
We'll get
How
monopolized.
does it start?
It starts with a little synth, like.
Yeah, I'm like, are we good? I don't know if we want to get
Dude, I just feel like the
demonetized.
performer in you wants to come out right now. You know what I mean?
Dale. I just feel like I need more quotes, more Pitbull quotes.
It goes. Doesn't it start with he said, "Hey sister"?
That's literally on my
I
life.
just met this 5'7"
Seven guy
guy.
who's just my type.
Side note, shout out to anyone who's 5'7" or whatnot, but kind of like kind of a crazy line. You
Nah,
know, like
like,
kind of like a
low-key,
crazy line.
5'7"
Is Kanye
crazy.
5'7"? Is that why she said that?
He is short. He might be 5'7".
Yeah, shout out to the shorty. Is that? I wonder why she said that line. Is it because I think that is.
She's pretty short though, so you know what I mean.
But why would
Like,
she say that?
Well,
because it rhymes.
She's like the way he peacoat. Look at this peacoat. Tell me he's broke. Like
That's Kanye though. That's a different verse.
yeah, you're right.
you know the song too.
Come
Okay,
on, you guys. It's
could-
really
But it's
okay.
so
They're trying to be
tuck that cat
controversial right now,
ass.
but everybody knows that song.
She's also from London, and perhaps there are different cultural norms there where they don't value height as much as we do here.
Ooh,
But
that's why
some
Tom
of
and
us don't value
Zendaya
him.
work. That makes sense.
That,
Wait, what was
but Zendaya's from here. Zendaya's from Oakland. So
right, but
she was
he's
still
not tripping on dating a tall queen. And also,
Oh.
Sophie Turner was married to Joe Jonas, and she was also a tall queen, and he was his. Her
Well, look,
shawty.
it didn't work out for them. So
That's so true. So maybe there's a lesson here.
Maybe we need to look at the research.
Mm-hmm,
We need to look at the research. Yeah. But you know what? Shout out to Estelle. That's on God. That's my go-to karaoke song. I've never heard anyone else say that. I thought you were talking about a different song, the For You London Boy.
good song.
I feel like that's a
Or
lot
how
of people's karaoke songs.
American
Is
Boy?
American Boy?
Yeah.
On
So-
God, I've never
You
seen anyone
guys are
say
trying
that.
so hard to be controversial, and
so
I feel like
We're
everybody
different.
loves that song.
We're both. Hey, let me put my tiki cap on.
I'm not trying to be very bougie Italy boy right now. We have other things to talk about, but I will say another Italy story about American Boy. We're in Florence. We're trying to find a bar, and we find this American bar. It's like has to be kids 18 to 21 years old,
Oh
like
my
getting
God.
drunk for the first time,
Right.
singing karaoke. But this karaoke bar has a stage. You walk up a ladder.
Ooh.
Stop.
There's a long ass line. It's crazy, right? They have mics. It's a whole production. So it's a long ass line. It's 1 a.m. We're like, I don't give a fuck. We need to sing.
Period.
But it's got to be a duet
Period.
because I'm with my girl.
Right.
Period.
And they're like, what do we sing? And I was like, we're singing American Boy.
Period.
And if you just know the hook, I got you. I'm gonna carry us, right?
Right.
So we're in line for.
He's like, I'll be Estelle.
Yeah.
You be Kanye.
Yeah. So in line 25 minutes, 3 people away. This one person goes up and does American Boy. And I had never, like you, I've been like, no one does this song. I'm like, we'll be good. Everyone's doing Queen. Everyone's doing Bon Jovi, white shit, whatever. Shout out Bon Jovi. Shout out Queen. But
Shout out Freddie Mercury.
shout out Pitbull.
Shout
but
out Pitbull. Dale.
I
Dale.
was shocked. And I was heartbroken.
I would have been pissed.
I would have been
I would have
mad as fuck.
I would have been like on some Kanye shit. Beyonce should have won the award for the best album of the
3
year.
people away is crazy.
That's literally
So
crazy.
we had
That's
to
diabolical.
try to figure out a second song. Like
So what was the runner?
we just left.
Oh
We
no.
were kind of drunk already. It was like, this is not gonna work out, whatever. But I was advocating for Work by Rihanna.
Where? That's a
That's-
good one. Yeah.
I feel like for karaoke, though.
Yeah, I know. But I was just like, I don't.
But unless you give the performance like the dance her and straight
They had a stage, yeah.
work. You know, I
So.
feel like yeah.
Well, lesson learned, you guys. American Boy is actually very known and very popular.
I would like to see the evidence.
Y'all, I
that's
know these really
correlated.
cool two underground artists.
I'm like, you'll never get it.
Hey,
I'm
Loki,
like,
does Estelle, do y'all know any other Estelle songs?
Yeah. She
she has like one other banger.
well,
Damn, one
she
hit wonder.
she
My
released
dream.
a more reggae inspired album like in 2020. That's really good. So it has a song called "Ain't Your Bitch." It's like a feminist anthem, but it's a bop.
Okay.
Okay,
good.
here I gotta
really
listen to
good.
that real quick.
Ain't your
Let me
bitch.
see.
Hey, American Boy to Ain't Your Bitch. That's like the trajectory. I feel like
Ain't
Yeah.
your
she fuck with American Boy being from
bitch.
London. She's like, you know what? I ain't your bitch.
Yeah.
And then she hit Jamaica. She was like, fuck that. Fuck these Americans. Gotta go with these Jamaicans.
Word.
Yeah, I
Word.
respect that. She's a woman of versatility. But I feel like she's also
Hey.
I'm
Hey.
like, what's some Pitbull
Hey.
move?
Hey.
Ooh,
Get Pitbull on the remix right now.
low key. I could
oh.
totally see him in this. Dale.
Hey, culo. I'm just kidding.
Ooh,
It's a
okay.
good song.
I'm gonna listen to it
So
later.
we'll be checking
All
that
right.
out. Shout out to Estelle.
Yeah.
She's a
I know,
real
but
one.
I low-key do like it's my all-time dream to be a one-hit wonder. Like I want to release one song that stays in music forever.
You've done that like 50 times, Pitbull. Like you
Yeah.
consistently.
You already done it.
Yeah. I done did that, but
Yeah.
I want to do it again.
Right.
Damn, I low-key sound like him.
You
huh?
really, yeah. You,
For a second, I
You
thought
guys,
we were in Miami.
Oh my god. Hopefully he sees this. Pitbull, we love you and I respect you more than anyone on this entire earth. I love him so much. I got ready with my my merch from his concert.
She
was
did have
pretty
a Pitbull
awesome.
shirt on.
Yeah.
I can attest to that.
Yes, it's awesome. He's amazing. I've only seen him the one time. Can you guys believe that bullshit?
When was that?
It was this year, actually.
Was
I
that the one? It was
think.
like him and Ricky Martin, or
Yeah, and Enrique
Oh my
Iglesias.
God, yeah.
That was a really good concert.
Yeah.
Amazing
I
performers.
feel like Enrique Iglesias is like the middle, right? He had to play in the middle, like crying.
I think they changed
Yeah,
it throughout like the tour.
Got
For
it.
me, it was Ricky Martin, Pitbull, and then Enrique Iglesias.
And did with
finished.
Enrique Iglesias?
Listen, y'all, he had a
Damn.
lot of hate on that tour because he was being a little weird and like sensual. But dude, the performance live was outstanding.
Sensual. What was he doing? Making out with bitches on stage or what?
Okay,
Isn't that what he does though? Like, isn't that his like thing?
I feel like right. Like he grabs a girl, he sings to her. It's like Aventura. Like
he was being
if you
very
take-
cringy.
Oh,
Like very cringy.
like non-consensual cringy.
No, it was consensual. It was just like really cringy.
Okay.
But I didn't mind it because I'm like, bro, he's putting, like you guys said, like he's putting on a performance.
Yeah.
It's like when Romeo comes on stage from Aventura and he's like, ¿Quién está soltera? You could be with your husband.
Right.
And if he points to you, he's like, who are you with? Nobody.
Exactly.
Like Usher.
Like awesome Usher. Like if Usher pulls you on stage.
Okay, that one, I don't know. Is he the one who dances on you? Who does that?
Dances on you.
You don't know Usher Pitbull?
No.
Okay. At
I'm
least you're
sorry.
honest.
That was not
You're
your
honest.
era? I thought that
You're
was your
honest.
era.
Usher, I mean, yeah, but I'm not big on like watching.
Are you
This might
joking?
be,
He literally
like-
had the residency of the year. Usher like had
I don't watch
uh,
performances like that. I don't even watch music videos.
I think it would be a good exercise for
Super
you to
Bowl?
go back and just listen to Usher music, and I'm just curious, like, what your like experience might be like.
No,
Like,
I do know Usher music. I just never seen him perform.
Okay.
You know what I
me
mean?
either,
Like,
but like videos.
I don't
didn't
watch
he do the
music
Super Bowl?
videos.
No, not music videos, like the videos of the performance. Like he was going viral.
Yeah,
like
I
he
don't
does
really
that. He
watch
he
those.
pulls girls on stage.
That's what I'm
with
saying.
their
That's him.
husbands.
Oh, with their husbands?
Like in
All right,
like,
if your
like,
girl, all right, your girl goes to an Usher or Romeo concert and he's like, "Amor, ven pa acá,"
And then they're gonna grind on them. Is this what I'm saying?
and then he gets like he grabs her hand. She's like pressing against his body. He's oiled up. It's glistening, and then he's
you're
like,
front row,
he's like, gotta let it
obviously.
burn, and like, he might be burning for him because allegedly
there
he
has to be a
has.
conversation beforehand about like, all right, look, what are we gonna?
You didn't have the conversation. The moment
What's
arises.
happening?
He just pulls her on stage and he just heart to his chest, hand to his chest, and he's like,
I'm looking at her, and if she feels
he's like,
comfortable
you'll
having a good time, I'm
always
like, you know
be
what?
my
Like, you do that.
That's beautiful.
Because
Because it's an experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like not. It's not
he's
like
not really gonna take her home,
exactly.
unless
That's what I low-key thought I was gonna be like. I really thought Justin Bieber was gonna pull me up and I was gonna be his one less lonely girl and he was gonna sing to me. And I didn't know that you had to pay for that shit.
what to get pulled on stage.
I don't know if you had to get pulled on stage, but it was definitely like the meet and greet girls.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well,
You know what I
They
mean?
got their money's worth.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like I didn't know that. I would have thrown a bigger fit about it. Like I just thought it was something that he did out of like the most beautiful women.
It was like me, like when like I went to a Bad Bunny concert and I was like right there and I'm like, I swear to God, I'm about to be on stage. Like, I had been stretching. I've been stretching because I could do a split. So I was like stretching. I was like, all right. I'm like,
oh
when
my
that
god, the bitches that would dance.
Yeah, I literally was
Yes.
like, if he gets me on stage, I'm like, I'm gonna put Honduras back on the map because there was an unfortunate incident with when he pulled the bitch in Honduras. Bitch could not dance to save her life. I was like, I have to take out my glasses because this is for this bitch. If you're fucking watching this, you're disgracing my motherfucking country. He's like, I thought las de Honduras sabían bailar. And this
That
bitch
is
could.
so
This bitch, when I tell you,
embarrassing.
she could not dance. She was there like
But she was in a section where like you get pulled up, so
he picked the bitch out.
She should have been prepared.
Yeah,
like, she's
for
in that
sure.
section,
And she was
right?
wearing her cute little outfit. She had like a little triangle top, and her pants were like all decked out in like his album
She
cover.
couldn't close the deal.
So that's why I think he like chose her because she was like her outfit was giving like like his album like in an outfit. And when I tell you, I was like no, I was stretching for 3 days. 3 nights, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, like stretches. I'm like, on God, I'm gonna pull up the Honduras map out my fucking asshole, and it's gonna be like across the stage. I was ready. I was literally ready.
Were
I
you
was
in the
looking at.
section?
Yes, bitch. I was literally on the fucking floor. I was literally on floor. I was one person away from the like guardrails or whatever. And I was like, all right. I'm like, I wasn't track once. Like, but in marathon, I wasn't doing no obstacles. I'm like, if I jump like 45-degree angle,
Yeah.
I take a step from this, another 65-degree, friction, like get it to push me enough to get on stage, like I could make it.
Pitbull, you really good with the mathematics.
I
You
know,
know
Pitbull.
what?
I really feel like you deserved it. Mr.
Suddenly, I had a BA and I graduated. No, suddenly I had a BS, but I graduated with a BA. You know, so I really was like scientifically. I was like my possibility of going like it was high. Like I've gone. I had told everybody if y'all see me tomorrow on stage, do not fucking text me. Do not worry about what happened backstage. Like, but it's because I told too many people about it. There's like
The
you know the
universe
evil
like
eye.
castigo.
So that's why I keep this on because the hateration has been holleration. So.
It's real.
Period.
They were blocking my blessings. It's cool though. Bad Bunny's gonna go on tour again. I'm actually not gonna go to that one. But I think he went on tour again. I didn't go to that one actually, but it don't matter.
My
Like,
mom
I'm over it.
had this exact experience last week with Chayanne. Do you know who Chayanne is?
No.
Okay, well,
What?
Chayanne.
Tiempo. Like, are you joking? He literally was a quinceañera anthem maker.
Can I? I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm just having this conversation. I've never gotten invited to a quinceañera, and it really is like a core like villain origin story for me. So
What?
like someone has to have like a double quince for the 30th birthday and invite me.
No, I'm sorry.
Because-
How did you
What?
live in the Inland Empire and you never went to a quinceañera?
I'm saying I don't know. I'm a late bloomer, you know. So like
Oh, so you didn't go to parties like at the times?
yeah, I didn't
Nobody
really go
fucking
to
turned
parties.
15.
I'm saying though,
That's so
It's
crazy.
sad.
Your primas?
be sad for me.
I'm like,
No one in our family had quinceañeras.
wait,
Most-
what's your ethnicity?
Mexican. But I and most of my family don't speak Spanish. So like we in a different
I need
like
to take these off.
we in different circles. But still like people at school, whatever, yeah.
Nah,
And
but that's actually like I feel like a quinceañera
I've never been
is
to
just-
one.
That's insane.
I'm actually going to one like in 2 weeks for my little cousin. And like low key I'm super excited.
Oh
But I'm trying to be
my
like, oh yeah,
God.
I'll pull up, yeah, sure. But I'm like, oh shit. Like,
Girl,
I've
my
never-
first one.
I've never
You're
been to
lying.
one.
So
That
you
is
were never even at
crazy.
chambelán, not even a little in the
No,
court.
bro. I don't even know what that word means. You feel me? But like I want the title.
You know what? I don't even know what that word means.
What's it mean?
Chambelán.
It's just the guy that be chambelaning.
Oh right, silly me.
I'm like, that's like the
I know what it is, but I'm just like I don't.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that makes me sad. I love quinceañeras. Please invite me to your quinceañeras. Actually, a while ago, one of our fans invited us. But they're
Really?
so much fun.
You went?
No, I didn't go. We couldn't go, I think. We were busy. that
That's
day.
so
That's crazy.
cute. Live podcast from the quinceañera.
That would have been really cute, yeah.
That is literally insane. I can't believe you've never been to a quinceañera. I'm like, my mind is blown.
I'm trying to like. I should just have one. We should. Like,
I feel
throw
like
one
you
for
should have a
me.
quinceañera.
Oh, for sure.
Hey, if other people could do it, why not? Are you gonna turn
Yeah.
30 anytime soon?
I'm already 30. The time's passed. It's
Okay,
over
well,
for me.
33.
No, I'm 31 right now.
Okay, well, 33. I feel like 33 is a good age to have a quinceañero.
I think 35.
35.
You know, a
Oh
lot
yeah,
of
35. 35.
Why 35?
Because there's a 5.
There's a
It's
5
just
in
a
it.
vibe. Okay.
A lot of like moms. I've been
35. Yeah.
35
Cincoñero, yeah.
So that means I get to pick who is like a MySpace top 8 in real
Yes.
life. Like you get to rank.
So
people
are
in your
we?
life?
Can like we be a part of your
We'd
court?
be your court, yeah.
If you need more men, let us know.
Can you
Yeah,
be the
yeah.
entertainment? Like Pitbull,
We
like perform?
absolutely-
Oh, 100%.
We'll be the MCs.
Oh my God,
We'll
we could
get better
totally be the MCs. Oh yeah, I will
podcast.
get way better
All
at
right,
podcast.
all right.
than
Can
this.
we
SFX.
quinceañera Pitbull dream set list? 3 songs.
Ooh.
Fireball has to be in it
Yeah.
because
Okay.
it's so hype.
Culo, because you better shake some ass, right?
Yes.
Hotel. Oh,
no.
My favorite
no.
Pitbull song is Go Girl.
Ooh, that's a good
Go
one.
Girl,
Girl.
goes
See,
crazy in
all
the
of
club.
these-
In the club to this day, you put that on as a DJ, it's going up.
Damn.
All of these could be part of your surprise dance because quinceañeras have surprise
Right.
dances.
And we could do one to like start it off.
Right.
Like on some
We'd be
white
your
chicks.
openers. Oh
But,
my
like,
God, on some
Latina
white chick
chicks.
shit. Yes.
Latina chicks.
This is a movie.
No,
This is
I'm
alright,
so
like-
We're
upset
giving
you've
free
never
game
been to
right
one.
now. Free screenplay.
Yeah, write
game
that down.
right
Write that down.
Don't steal our ideas, you guys.
Yeah. Don't be having a 35ñero, okay?
Let me walk you through a quinceañera. Are you gonna go to the mass?
I don't. There's a mass.
Yeah, there's a mass.
We
Well,
not
some
having-
people have
My
mass.
family not having
Some
no
pe-
mass.
yeah, some
we
people have
having no
mass. Okay, who cares? That shit's boring as fuck.
My cousin
but
didn't have one.
I had one, and there was so much traffic, and it was in Pasadena. So my mom didn't make it on time. I didn't make it on time, and the priest said my name wrong the whole entire mass. So
What did he call you?
Estefania.
Oh my God. The way
I
that would have lost like a fucking, like my artery, like whatever fucking artery
Dude.
your nerve is right here would have been popping
I
out.
was like, that's not my fucking name, but whatever.
It's Pitbull.
It's
Right,
Pitbull, baby. It's
Pitbull.
Mr. 305.
Pit to the bull.
I loved my quinceañera though. It was honestly the best. I had the most beautiful dress I've ever put on my body in my whole life, and that's including my wedding dresses, you guys.
I was gonna say,
No, yeah, those were okay. But so you walk in, everybody's like having dinner, and then it's kind of like a wedding. Like there's a big entrance for the quinceañera, and then
it
that's
is
usually
kind of like a wedding, actually. Like
Yeah.
everything. If you've been to a wedding,
you've essentially been to a
I love
quinceañera.
weddings.
Yeah. So it's just cute because it's like a little girl. Like some people do. There's a lot of traditions that are no longer, but some people do them. Like they'll go in flats and then they'll switch their flats to heels,
Yeah.
or they'll have like a little doll and you give it to like the next quinceañera that's gonna be in.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cute stuff. I didn't do any of them. I actually got. Actually, that is so funny that you even say this. My quinceañera dance instructor looks like Chayanne.
You're lying.
Part of the reason we got him is because he looks like Chayanne. Because let me
your
tell
mom
you who
was living
Chayanne
in her
is.
dream.
The photo of your instructor. Like we can do.
Oh, I'm gonna look for it. I'm literally gonna look for it because that is literally part of the reason that
You got him?
A friend and I did an old friend. We did like a modeling thing for quinceañera dresses for this designer called Mitzi, and it was awesome. But
feel like
the
I've
instructor
heard that
for
name.
the what?
I feel like I've heard that name.
Yeah, he makes gorgeous like quinceañera dresses. And I had gone to that or whatever, and we did like a little dance, and the instructor, that's where I met him. So then I got him from there. And I had dancers. I didn't have chambelanes because I was like, I don't want them fucking up my dance. And then the dancers fucked up my dance. I feel like I've said the story on here, but
Damn.
yeah, but it's cute. I can't wait for you to go.
Yeah, I'll go.
What are you gonna wear?
Probably something similar to this, like this oversized blazer. Like kind of, I don't want to. It's not about me, you know. But like, nice.
It's
But you never
always
been
about
to a
you.
quinceañera.
Yeah, you
so it's
gotta
a
step
little bit
out.
about you.
I feel like
your
quinceañeras are
caption got to be like finally
You're right.
made
So
it.
it's not about me, but it's like it's second about me.
Right. So I think
Exactly.
you should put
Okay.
like a little flower, like pretend you're like a chambelan.
Okay.
Anyways, you know,
You're
like,
part of it.
be a part of it. Like
Okay.
just somehow just get in the mix.
Okay.
Cause like, what did you finally go to a quinceañera if you're not gonna finally be a part of a
You're
quinceañera?
right. You're right.
And I feel like quinceañeras and weddings and those things are those places where like that's like the perfect place to step out
Right.
and like not be like judged or felt like why am
Okay.
I more overdressed than everybody?
Oh, I
Unless
don't-
your
I
family's
don't-
not doing.
I don't care about none of that.
Yeah, I
anymore,
know
so
that's not
let's
you
go.
at all,
Yeah, yeah,
anyways.
let's go.
But is your family doing like a very traditional quinceañera, or is it just
No,
more?
it's like it's a party.
Oh, okay.
You know.
It's still cute though. Is she gonna wear
Yeah.
like a dress?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Then it's a quinceañera.
Yeah.
yeah. As long as you. What? I didn't have a big ass. Well, I guess I had a 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the same thing though. Did you guys ever watch the like Sweet 16 show?
Sweet bro, yes. When everyone was waiting for Tiana Taylor to hand out those MP3s so they could get an invite, like the way that I was like, damn, I really need to have some rich ass friends so I can really experience that. Cause what the fuck you mean you got an ice cream truck and when you get the ice cream scoop, you open up the top of the fucking ice cream scoop and then down there reveals your fucking invitation.
Damn,
Like,
I do not remember this
people
show.
were going all
I-
out.
Yeah. That clip like still it's like a top like
Top.
early 2000s like infamous
Canon
television.
event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like clip. That clip with the ice cream truck is the reason why like for my graduation party that my mom and dad and my Nina are planning, they're like asking for like my like opinion on food and I'm like,
Mhm.
we need to pay one of these ice cream trucks that pass by
Mm-hmm.
all the time, be like, how much we got to pay you, bro, to just sit here for like
Mhm.
2 hours
Yep.
and just have people just pull up and just like come up and get an ice cream.
Yep.
Like I want to feel like I'm a rich sweet 16 kid.
That is
Right.
amazing.
Damn, that is literally like if you do that, that's elite. Like,
That's iconic.
straight
That's
up elite.
like healing inner child.
Inner child,
type.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I
he
just
didn't
rem-
make it to Sweet 16, but he had your own Sweet 16.
I just remember like the bitches crying. Like I remember I saw one where they gave her the car the day early and not during the party.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just sobbing. Like
Pissed.
she's like, how the fuck could you do this to me? Like you guys are bastards.
That show would do so well today, I feel like.
Oh my god.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel
It-
like it would not come off well.
It would. People would be mad. People would watch it though. to
That's
be
why they
mad.
would, yeah, they watch
Yeah.
it be mad. Like it was that not clickbait before it was, well, I guess it wasn't clickbait because motherfuckers actually ain't shit on that. I remember the girl was kind of like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, I hate these dresses. Fine, we'll go to Paris and fly you out so you get a dress in Paris.
I feel like my
Like-
mom watched that show and she was like, I want this. My mom made me take my quinceañera pictures in Vegas. And I was like walking around with my big ass dress like around the casinos. And people would be like, can we take a picture with you? And I'd be like, no.
Bitch, in Vegas and your quince was here?
Yeah.
Hey, I love it. Your mom is
My
extra.
mom
Worldwide.
literally healed all. I feel like everything she wanted through like
You.
me.
Damn.
Yeah. She was living vicariously.
Yo,
through you.
100%. Yeah.
I love it. She was making her dreams come true.
Exactly. I really do hope Cheyenne pulls my mom. I'm actually going with her to see Cheyenne again for the 3rd time.
Really? When?
Okay, so
let
let
me
me
know.
tell you-
Maybe I'll get tickets for my mom. My mom loves China.
It's in Cancun.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, mom, I'll take you. You want, but fuck.
Dude,
Wait,
honestly,
when
I
is
don't know.
that?
I think next year in March.
No, I'm gonna catch another flight.
She said I'm busy next year.
It's Mr. Worldwide. Really.
Mr. Robert, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go somewhere.
Dale.
Dale.
Okay, Cheyenne, you have to know him because you're Mexican, okay?
All
He
right.
is like the heartthrob of all
Yes.
Mexican tias and moms,
Yes.
like ever. Like
Okay.
every Hispanic Latina mother has told their daughter that was gonna be your dad.
I'm sure I've seen and heard. Like I can't associate.
Yeah,
Like,
but
names
he's
with-
associated with quinceañeras because he has a song specifically that was used for a long time in quinceañeras as the main like dance, like the court dance.
Okay.
So he's very, very iconic, but also he's just an incredible, incredible talent. Like I just love him so much. He is very handsome, not my type, but definitely Mexican mom type.
No, he's a handsome. You gotta remember Cheyenne. How the fuck you spell Cheyenne?
Chayenne.
Okay, I was spelling that shit in some Americana way for sure. Like, you don't know this guy?
You don't know
Oh
this guy?
yeah.
Like, your
Big-
mom at some point probably
Big,
told
strong,
you.
like jawline,
Yeah.
like dimples.
Yeah, he's
Low-key
like
looks like
a
Mario
hard-
Lopez a little bit.
Yeah, the original. Before Mario
Yeah.
Lopez was Mario Lopezing.
Right.
There was Cheyenne.
Before Mario Lopez was on every like Hilton like
Mm-hmm.
main menu screen, like
yep.
telling you what channel
Exactly.
ESPN is on.
Like, he was like the heartthrob, like the ultimate Latin lover.
Yes.
But like sweet and gentle.
I know, and he's so sweet.
Yeah.
Like, and my mom says he puts a great performance.
Okay.
But she went front row, and he also takes up people to
So
dance
she
with
was
him, and
literally
she
hoping
really thought like it was
that
gonna
was the
be her.
chance?
Yeah, she looked fucking so hot, and I was like, I know that was intentional, girl. Like,
Damn.
yeah, but I can't
How
remember
could-
why that even
I've-
started.
I have a good feeling about Cancun.
I know. I'm only like, I don't like Cancun because I have very sad associations with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going because she wants to go. So
Is it just you two? You girls
yeah,
are
just
going?
us two.
Who knows?
I love that
Maybe
you
we'll
travel
crash.
with your mom like that. Like you just like really like just be like, we're just gonna go.
Yeah,
is
she
cool.
loves to travel, so it's just always. I mean, since we were little, honestly, my parents just love to
Mhm.
travel. But my mom's just like a good time. She's like really funny and like lively, so I feel like she's more extroverted than I am now. So it's nice to have her because she does that for me. But my mom could be a little Karen sometimes. So sometimes I'm like, oh my
Embarrassed?
God. Yes. Like with waiters, I'm like, Mom, please. And she'd be like, no.
It's because
Speak to the
she
manager.
has a high standards. She's like one of my homegirls. And my homegirls, oh my God, I'm not gonna name you bitch because you already know who the fuck you are. But goddamn, do I hate going out with this one bitch because she's just so particular. She's like, I'm always gonna tip. So like, and I'm like, oh. my
Yeah,
God.
that's what she says too. She actually just told me that she wants to come on the podcast, but that she's like really nervous about it because she, ever since she's like been a like widow, like she's just experienced so many like situations with men that she had never felt before just because she had
Wow.
my dad with her, that literally essentially she's seeing how little men respect women.
Yeah.
And I feel like she's been like getting very fueled with anger by it. So she told me like, I want to go on the podcast. I just don't want to like come off like weird. She's just like nervous in front of cameras and all that. And then the whole episode will have to be in Spanish. So I'm like, Mom, we'll speak Spanish, girl. Like we don't give a fuck.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is perfect. Let's go to Rose and Thorn because this is definitely one of my thorns.
Ooh, okay, then you go first.
Okay, well, let's do Rose first.
Okay.
Okay, so Rose and Thorn. Wait, for the listeners, we haven't said this. You guys, please go to YouTube real quickly and look at Stephanie and I. Okay, look at us now. Whatever
You
second
did
this
say
is.
you said we're dressed as Pitbull.
I didn't specify.
Oh.
We have ball caps. Actually, I
We
just
are
shaved my
bald.
head for this, but
Yeah.
please, we have ball caps, and we're as manly as it can get. I was trying to be a little sexy Pitbulls because he always has his shirt open, and Stephanie's also sexy Pitbull. She got the toes out. I got the Michael Jacksons. But go check us out. Okay, Rose. So Rose, if for the ones that don't know, if you guys are just
If you guys are
tuning in,
new to IE and Besties.
yes, because we're about to pop your cherry. Rose is like a highlight of your week. So something that was really great. So I guess I'll go first.
Yeah, go first.
Last week, what the fuck did I do last week? Was I in New York? I think I was in New York last week.
Oh, you weren't here. You weren't here for
Yeah.
this last
So okay.
episode.
So yes, my thorn is I got to go to New York. I actually just got my ticket. I'm about to go back next month. So my rose is I got to go to like a different party in New York, and it was really nice. It was like gorgeous to see like the colors of the trees and to see like the transition from from summer to fall
To witness
like,
seasons.
to witness seasons. I did come back with like I didn't realize I had allergies. I'm like, why do I keep sneezing? Why do I have a runny nose? I'm like, my ears are itchy, my throat's itchy. They're like, bitch, you got allergies. But I've never in my life experienced like I've never been allergic to anything.
Have you never been to New York before?
Yes, but like New York City, and this is more like upper.
Oh, you were like in
east.
the like.
Like I was like in
Upstate.
Rochester, yeah, upstate.
Oh, wow.
Did you go to
it was so
Niagara?
different. Dude, I was an hour away from there. I didn't know that. Otherwise, I would have extended my trip so I could have fucking gone to Niagara Falls.
Oh, okay.
But it's cool. I saw some other falls, so
That's why you posted a waterfall, and I was like,
yeah.
I can't.
I guess
remember.
that's connected to like that holds like it's part of the river that holds like 20% of the world's largest freshwater.
Wow.
So it was really nice to see that.
And your thorn?
Oh, and my no, you guys, your rose.
Okay, my rose.
I'll end with my thorn.
Let me think. My rose is coming up. I would say like the highlight of this week is that by Friday I'm gonna be with my niece and my nephew, and I'm gonna be with like my family in Mexico because my cousin's getting married. So that's my rose that I'm looking forward to. But one that already happened. Let me think. I went to see Ana Gabriel, you guys.
Oh my God. Yes.
It was unbelievable. It was magical. I went with my mom. My boyfriend and I both took our moms. So it was really cute.
Oh, that's cute.
And it was just beautiful because like she talks about her mom during the show, and she's just like, oh, like if you came with your mom, or if like you like have been with your parents or have lost a parent, like the song is for you guys. And like me and my mom just like cried and like laughed, and it was just like a great fucking time. So that's my rose for the week.
I love that.
Lovely. My rose is a little boring, but
No
it
such
is
thing.
my genuine rose, which is that I really, really had a big breakthrough and got a lot of progress on this thesis that I'm writing for grad school, and I've been struggling with
Yay.
it and stressed about it, and I like was writing pages like all week, and so I just feel good about that. I feel less anxious about it.
How is that boring? You're literally
I'm, like,
working on your
literally-
thesis. Like that's amazing.
Because that shit is like arduous and like tedious, and like I'm just in a room by myself writing. Like it's not
Yeah, but that's
super-
amazing. And I feel like honestly having writer's block is one of the most frustrating feelings ever. So kind of having that breakthrough, like I can just imagine the relief. So that's an amazing rose to have.
Thanks.
Yeah, and we are going to talk more about that. I'm like, but your thorn, your thorn, Steph. Do you have a thorn?
My thorn is that, as you guys know, I'm a new kitty parent, and it has been a adjustment, I would say. Cats are obviously very different to dogs, so I feel like she tests my patience
Every
day, but I love it. But it's also like I'm like, oh my gosh, I never realized how different it would be to a cat.
Mhm.
Just from like what I see in movies, I'm like, oh, they're chill, but she's fucking psychotic. Like they scratch you, and it's like, okay, I can't yell at you because you don't respond well to negative like discipline. So I have to find a way to nicely tell her to stop being a bitch. And I feel like that's my thorn.
Down.
Yeah, fuck cats.
Okay.
I hate cats. I only like
John,
mine.
I'll end with my thorn.
Because your thorn's crazy. I'm like we're
My
like
thorn-
it's drum roll for
yes,
the,
my
for,
thorn
for
is fucking
Pitbull's
pissing me
thorn.
off, to be honest.
My thorn is simple. My thorn is that I miss my girlfriend.
Aw.
Like I barely get to see her. Like it's just been a busy week. Like we're both super busy and like just trying to find time. And it's just like, damn, like why we got to be busy and work and be in school and shit. So
Do you guys live close or far from each other?
not like super far. I used to be a little further because I used to live in San Francisco. But she's in the valley,
Oh, okay.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
so it's a minute.
Yeah,
It's a minute
that's a
away.
drive though with traffic.
Yeah, with traffic, it's like depending on. And she's in her PhD program. I'm in grad school. Like we're just running around trying
Yeah,
to find time.
yeah. My brother, he's dating my homegirl, and he's from the valley. She lived here. And damn, that'd be hella traffic.
Yeah.
It's a commitment, but hey, it's not too bad. Definitely easier to get to than San Francisco.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So my thorn is I was fucking sexually assaulted twice in this week.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, I was literally one at a work conference, like walking to work with my boss, literally there. I was with the female boss. Not to say that she could have done anything to prevent. I think it was 100% like the man's fault. But and then I go to a club this weekend and I had to literally push a guy. Like I pushed him.
Shut
and I was talking my shit, and
up.
I'm like, what the fuck is going on with the universe? Like it really pissed me off. And then I got a haircut, and then I felt so good about my haircut. And then I'm walking my dog, and some guy's like trying to touch her dog. I'm like, oh, don't touch her. Like she bites. He's like, oh, do you want to fuck? I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like I literally was like, oh my God, I feel so good. I feel so sexy in my haircut. And then he tells me that when I tell you I wanted to go look like this in that fucking moment. On God, I was like, I couldn't believe my life. I had just come back from this man, like literally touching my entire fucking body. My glasses fall on my face. Literally, like I couldn't even believe it. Like it's so crazy because I feel like I'm so vocal. Like I take up a lot of space. And like every time like that has happened to me, it's like I don't even know how to respond. Like I genuinely don't know how to respond. So maybe it wasn't extremely sexually assaulted, but I was groped. Like I was groped.
That is exactly that.
That's I guess it's categorized.
And also, it's part of folks who are sexually assaulted. It's part of the process to be like, well, it's not that bad, or it's not, like so all your feelings are super valid. I'm super sorry that happened to you.
He literally, we're like sitting down. He's like, oh. We're at a conference, and then like we're in the middle, and I'm like with my boss, and then like we're in the table, and it's like empty seats, like literally all around us. He comes and sits right next to me. I'm like, I'm talking, and then he's like turns, he starts talking to me, and so I'm like, whatever, I'm talking. It's a conference, like everyone's there to network, and so we start talking about, oh, we want to go to this place to go check out the falls. He's like, oh no, you shouldn't go check out the falls. He's like, you know what, if you want, let's go to dinner. He's like, we're from dinner, and then I'll take you guys if you guys want to the falls. I have my car, I'll drive you guys, and we're like, well, we really want to go see the falls at this time, so we'll just go see that. But like, let's exchange like contacts, and then we can meet up later. Because I was my boss. I'm like, do you really want to go? Like, I see he's talking to me, and like I would like turn to talk to her, and then I turned to talk to him, and then like, but I'm like, I don't know if she's like, does she really want to do this? Because this guy's like right there. But like, what? He's the local. He knows from here, and like he'll probably have some really good recommendations. And so whatever, we go. He's like, hey, the place is open until 5. Let's go to 5. We get there at 5. We start talking. As soon as we're sitting down, he starts like touching my hands and like touching my arm. Then he's like rubbing on like my back, like right here to like where my bra strap is at. And I'm just like, and it's quick. So it's like, there's some people who are touchy too. And so I'm just like, like trying to, obviously minimize it. I'm obviously trying to minimize it. And so he's like touching here, and then he like starts touching my thigh. And then I'd be like, oh my God. And then I look at his hand. He has like 2 wedding rings, of course. One gold and then a black one. I'm like, if that wasn't sufficient reminder. And then he's just like that. I'm like, okay. Like, it is just like every so often it'd be like here, then like this. And I'm like, and like, mind you, I'm sitting next to my boss like this. Like we're literally all in bar stools next to each other. And so like, whatever, we're talking for a minute, and she's like, what do you think? I'm like, she's like, yeah. She's like, he's like, really, and I'm like, yeah. And he keeps on like touching like my thigh, and like, I think we should just go. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, when he comes back. And then I was like, oh, it's for me. I was like, oh, yeah, no, Kat. Like, oh my God. I'm like, actually, it's Kayla. We should go. He's like, oh, let's go. I have my car. He's like, I'm like, oh, no, we'll walk. We really want to see the fall colors. So he's like, well, let's walk. So then whatever. We walk outside, and then we were walking outside, and like, it's like me, him, her. And then I'm like, how the fuck do no, it's her, me, and then him. And then we start walking, and then he gets in between my boss and I. So he's like walking right next to me. And then he moves again to walk like to this edge. So we're walking, and he's like walking like towards the edge of me. And as we're getting closer to like we go to this museum because they closed it down so everyone for the conference can go. And like he's like getting close to the museum, and this is like my body here. So this is like where my freaking ass is at. And he like is like talking, and then he just goes like this, and I'm like, and in a way it could be perceived as like a total accident because he's just like talking to just like Russian. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, is this for real? Like literally my boss is right next to me, but she's like walking forward, and I don't know if because like I don't know, like she's thinking like I'm into this or not, but I just told her like I'm not into this, like let's go. And so she's kind of walking in front of me, and I'm like trying to walk like with her, but this guy's like talking, and then like again like he's like getting closer to me, and then he like once again like freaking brushes his like arm like against me, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, this is like, and then I'm tripping. Like, I start tripping out because I'm like, all right, this is twice. Like, this is not like a mistake. And so, whatever, we get inside. When we're inside, I'm like, I need to go to the restroom. He's like, I'll walk with you to the restroom. I'm like, oh my God. So he like tries to walk me to the restroom. We go to the wrong direction. I'm like, oh no, you know what? I think it's right over there. Don't even worry about it. Just stay here. I'll go to the restroom, and I'm like, okay, like, what the fuck is going on? So I walk back. Oh, mind you. And then this guy's like pretty short. So then I changed it to my Crocs, my high heel Crocs. So then before I made the comment, he was just saying like, oh yeah, like I like doing your other shoes from yesterday better. Mind you, I just met this guy today. And I'm like, oh, you like my other shoes? Why? Because I'm not that fucking tall in my other shoes. So whatever. So then when I come back from the restroom, like I see my boss and I see him talking to somebody else. I'm like, oh, perfect. So she comes and sees me. She's like, let's go. It's our time. So I literally like, I'm walking towards the steps and he's like, oh, Ice, are you leaving me? I was like, oh no, of course not. And so we're walking up. He rushes to get next to me, walks up there, takes my tokens because they give us tokens so we can like play this game. And as like we're going, I'm like, oh, I'm like trying to like see where to go play because I'm do want to go play. He's like, oh, let's go play dance. I was like, oh, I would love to go dance with you. And I'm like, let's go play a game we could play with my boss. I'm like, let's go play a game. So whatever, we go. I start playing Super Mario's. I leave my tokens down. I like leave for a second. He grabs my tokens so I could go look for him, follow him, so I can't play without my tokens. So I'm like, fuck that. I'm gonna go stand by my boss. So I'm done. I stand by my boss. He comes next to me and he's right there. And he's like, and then he like leaves for a second. I'm like, I'm not leaving her side until like we leave. And then and then she's like, looks around. She's like, I don't think he's gonna make me there. Let's go. So we dart out of there. Because before we walked in there was another guy and I started talking to that other guy. Obviously like it's a professional setting and I could see him be pissed that I'm talking to this other guy. Like I could literally see his face like change, like his demeanor immediately. As soon as I started talking to this other man, he was just like his demeanor changed completely and I could feel it. And I'm like, it felt so like it was so like intense that I immediately stopped talking to the other guy because I just felt the intensity of his stare. And so whatever, we go and we run out. Like I'm literally running out. Like literally we run to the next restaurant because I'm like terrified. Like I literally am like, what the fuck? I need to get out of here. Like this guy is literally like, he's crossed lines. And like it's unfortunate, but when you're like in a setting where you work with a lot of men, like this is not like a unique experience. And especially working in politics and like it's my job to make other people feel comfortable because you just never know. Obviously in this situation I probably could have like stepped out because I don't work in New York, but it's just like there's been multiple situations where like I'm a woman and like I'm like I don't know if I'm gonna run into these people again. So you have to like be quiet and like not say something or like not respond back because like what if it is misinterpretation of things?
It's probably not.
Yeah,
No,
it's not.
yeah.
And then I go out to this club and then some fucking guy says some shit and he brushed up against me and I was really pissed. Like I feel like it was just so many things that happened literally for fucking like Wednesday, Tuesday to like Saturday. It was crazy. It was like really a crazy ass like experience.
Oh my gosh, I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm so sorry. And
Yeah.
especially like with like the work one, it's something that I think about a lot in the work that I do. And I was on a panel like a couple of years ago for
Take the
Latinas in
mic a little
Tech
bit closer.
for Latinas in Tech. They're a great organization, and they were talking about allyship. And one of the things that we were talking about was this idea. I'd imagine for all women, but especially Latina women, like that shit happens all the time, and like these dudes y'all are fucking weirdos. And it's like really fucked up that like you have to do so many mental gymnastics before that even happens to like try to even think through like what am I gonna wear, how am I gonna, and it's under the guise of networking,
Right.
so like men will be like I want to help you and they don't,
And
and it's fucked up. It's like so fucked up, and then it has you be like you have to do like a risk analysis of like what's worth it, what's not worth it, and it continues to drive this like divide within all communities, but especially like the Latino community in general. I'm so sorry that happened. Like, and like none of that is like qualifiable of like an accident or whatnot. Like men know what they're doing.
Especially like even if it's like, oh, it was an accident, there was brushing. Like the fact that he even felt comfortable to be that close to you, like that in itself is already crossing like a boundary.
I was like, why is she walking so fast? And then she's just like, oh well, I didn't know. And I'm like, let me make this very clear to you. When I'm at a work event, I am not looking to date, and that's not my interest. I'm like,
oh, like she didn't know if you were into it.
And I'm like, lady, I literally told you at the freaking restaurant, like, I don't like. Let's go. Let's get out of here. This guy keeps touching my leg. Like he's going higher and higher and higher. And he's like, he's like repeatedly touching my bra, like repeatedly. And like, how do I just don't know how to respond. I just didn't know how to respond to that in that moment. Like genuinely, I did not know how to respond to him. I'm like, I didn't know like, what do I do? And she's like, you should have told him to. And I'm like, I understand what I should have done, but I couldn't. Like, I'm in a professional event. Do I make him feel uncomfortable that he's touching me? Am I tripping? Like, all these things are running through my mind. Like, and again, I'm like not even thinking about my comfort. I'm thinking, how are other people gonna respond to the way that I respond to this man touching me?
And there is no should have, like especially in a context when you're being victimized, like you are doing the best you can in that context, and like that idea of should have retroactively, it's really dangerous because it's like I should have done this, I was wrong, and like there's nothing you did wrong in that context. You did everything you possibly could. You shouldn't have been put in that position to begin with repeatedly.
Right. And obviously it's not my boss's fault either. Like,
Right.
she doesn't like know, like it's this guy's fault for feeling so comfortable. I'm just like, how could you like, and then like I remember he's like, I was like, oh well, let's just connect on LinkedIn, like before he started like touching me. And then he's just like, oh yeah, we're definitely gonna find ways to collaborate. I was like, well, and he was like saying like grimy little stuff like that, and you just gotta be like,
Ew, that reminds me of did you guys watch the Angel Reese and Shaq podcast?
Oh my
I haven't seen it. I just see all the
seen it.
memes around it, and I need to watch it, but I'm like, I don't even want to watch it.
I mean, you really only have to watch like a snippet of it to be like, what the fuck? The main one that has been like circulating is he's talking about lowering the basket, and he's like, yeah, like imagine you dunking like with those little shiny shorts you had, like those little shorts you had on, like something like that. But even like throughout, like she says, like yeah, like Shaq doesn't want me to date. Like he gets mad when he knows I'm dating. Or he's like, and he even says like on the pod, like, oh, everything you guys are saying, like it's not like that. It's like all daughter love, like. But bro, his demeanor the entire time is so. It's like you described it, like very, like, no, I'm here for you. Like, I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this to help you. But like, what if you did? Like, what if we did? Like, it's just weird. It gives me those fucking creepy uncle vibes. And I'm watching it and I'm like, oh my motherfucking God. Like,
it's the universal experience.
Yeah, because she's like now like in a position where, one of the greatest is backing her up, but also like he's doing weird fucking shit. Yeah.
She, at the end of the day, she's still a woman.
A young woman, a child athlete. Practically.
And that has layers because, they went to the same school. So he's been mentoring her for quite some time.
Exactly.
And yeah, I just don't like, that shit is just like disgusting and also like so lame. Like I don't like for as prideful as men, particularly heterosexual men, are supposed to be, like I don't understand how you have like no shame. It's like you like this is like attractive to you, bruh. Like making this woman feel uncomfortable, like that makes you feel like the man. Like how like it's disgusting.
Have you guys seen the movie Woman of the Hour? It's do you guys know who Anna Kendrick is? It's her like directorial debut. It's about a serial killer. It's a true story. It's about a serial killer who well, it's about a woman who goes on a date with a serial killer because she's on a dating game show and they cast him. They don't know he's a serial killer, obviously, but they cast him and she ends up like going out with him. And the movie follows, I believe, like 3 women and then the dating show scene. The 3 women are 3 also true stories, 2 he murdered and 1 that got away from him. And the movie's really, really beautiful because it essentially is what you just described your situation to be. Like there's nothing gory in the movie. There's nothing that kind of makes you like want to gag. It's just things that where it's like very obvious. It's all women intuition of like, I am not safe here anymore. Like in 1 second, I no longer feel like I am in a place where I'm going to be okay. This person is going to hurt me. And the movie is just so beautifully done. It's I honestly very, very much recommend it. It's on Netflix, you guys, but it really, really depicts that fear that women feel in a split of a second of like, wow, this person that I mean, it could be a stranger, it could be someone of like, wow, like I am no longer in a place where I feel like I'm gonna survive. Yeah. And it's crazy because there's a scene where like all she's doing is walking to her car. And like it's like palpable through the screen of like, fuck, is this guy gonna kill me? Oh my gosh, it's such a good movie. I really, really recommend it. There's obviously some parts that are true and not, but overall the movie does an incredible job at showing that fear that women have to go through.
And I think as a man in like any space whether it's with a single woman or a group of women, like you have to be aware of, I mean, one, if you have good intentions, which unfortunately are not a lot of men, but if you do, like you have to understand that you have to disarm yourself consistently.
Mhm.
Like there has to be a consistent like, hey, like you should be fearful of me. You
Mhm.
don't know me. You don't trust me. Fair. Like how are you as a person entering a space like that, like disarming yourself to be like, it's whatever I need to do to make you feel comfortable.
Mhm.
And so like even if it's not like an extreme of like sexual assault, there is still like room for just like weird shit to happen because like there's just no like awareness and no
Mhm.
like intention to have that awareness as well.
Mhm.
That's crazy.
I'm still shocked at your story, babe.
Yeah.
I know, it's really crazy. And it's crazy 'cause I'm like, this is like a professional setting. Like,
Mhm.
there's people quite literally around me the entire time.
Yeah.
And that did not stop it. Like, that literally did not stop it. That did not, like, you know, that did not motivate him to, like, act differently.
And I feel like in situations like that, it can be so harmful to the fact that you are surrounded by people because then it comes of like, oh, well, I didn't see anything. Like, I didn't notice. And it's like, yeah, you didn't notice because obviously it wasn't happening to you, but it doesn't make my experience any less true as to what happened. I feel
Yeah.
like that's happened to me a few times where like I'll be in a situation where I'm like, you know what, I'm really, really uncomfortable. And someone will be there to be like, well, I think it was all in your head.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it wasn't in my head. Like, I'm pretty sure that this person was trying to be something that wasn't. But it's I'm so sorry. I'm
Yeah, me
so
too.
like,
No, it's okay. It's
I-
okay. It is.
It's not okay.
Yeah, it was not okay. It was not
Mhm.
okay, but unfortunately, as a woman, this is
Yeah.
not like it's not my first, second, 100th experience.
Mhm.
Like literally, this is one more.
yeah,
one of the two in that week alone. But
it's
that was
that. You know what I
crazy.
mean? Too, that it's
I
like
think
really
that's why I was
back to fucking
pissed on
back.
Saturday. Like I was like, the fuck, and I was like cussing. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Back off! And like, I just pushed him. Like, I feel like I was just angry from how I couldn't react earlier, and I just like pushed this guy. And I kept pushing, and every time I see him, it would piss me off. Like, what do you want, bitch? But as a woman, I'm gonna be honest, ladies, you should really not respond like that, just because these men are demons. Like, literally, I could have put my life and my safety at risk, like pushing that one. Like, I typically don't try to do that, especially when you're in environments where people have been drinking, because. I'm going to be honest with you. If men don't care to sexually assault you, they absolutely don't care to swing on you. And I'm not about to fuck this up, you know? So, like, yeah, I would not recommend that, truthfully. But
lately,
yeah.
men have just been insufferable. Sorry, John. But like, they really have been the most. I can't even explain it. Like, I was at the gym and I was like recording myself. He wasn't even in frame. I don't even think he knew if he was in frame. And he was like, hey, like, can you move your camera? Like, I don't want to be like in the background. I was just like, okay, because I also have stopped apologizing to men. Like, I didn't want to be like, oh yeah, you know, I'm sorry, like whatever. I was just like, okay, I'll move it. And then he kept trying to explain to me like why he didn't want to be on camera. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. And then he's like, yeah, like, I mean, you're doing your little thing, but like, and I was like, bitch, like, this is a public gym, first of all. Like, me even moving my camera is just me being fucking nice.
Right.
But I had no reason to do that. Like, you fucking move. Like, why do I have to move my shit? And I'm already agreeing to you. I'm already doing what you asked, and you're still irritating me. And then once he said, like, oh, I know you're doing your little thing, but like, I don't
Fuck
want to be
you.
in back. And I was like, bro, fuck you. Like, my little thing with. I'm
He's
just
a
fucking
hater.
recording my workout. Like, I don't understand what my little thing is. And ever since then, every time I go to the gym, I'm like fucking dogging the shit out of everybody there.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's just like this growing anger of like why men have nothing but the fucking audacity
Yeah.
in every situation
In every situation ever.
except Pitbull.
Well, John, you're studying. Could we say the school you're studying in?
I attend Stanford University right now.
So we have someone here that's researched. So why are men? I'm just kidding. Why do men?
We can talk
Why
about
do
it.
men? Why do men? Period. Why do men? I'm like, that is a sentence.
I mean, because they can get away with it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like I think that's what it boils down to, right? The idea that our world. You know what I was thinking about too? I was thinking about the Barbie movie,
Mm-hmm.
and I was thinking about how like in this fictional world, it's like, oh, like Barbie runs the world, and so the patriarchy has to be created for it. And I was like, no, but that's real. Actually, like that's
Interesting.
real. Like it's a concept that like even if men are not aware of it, this idea of I feel entitled to your body, to your physical space, to your job, to your the radius of your camera at a gym. Like it goes down to that like detail specific where it's like, this is mine. And if it's not mine, I'm going to react emotionally. And because men don't know how to process their emotions, that results in I'm reacting violently. So that's verbally, physically, et cetera, et cetera. I also think that like men think that that's what's going to make them feel better too. So also like it hurts men as well.
Yeah.
But you know, we don't think about it that way, but there's this like this bravado or this like, I'm upset and I'm going to express this anger towards women, or it could even be towards men. Like that's going to do anything.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, you know, like it's why there's like this like interesting, there's lots of studies recently about like men not having sex as often, not having friends, like really not having any connection. And it's like these things are like exacerbating so much that men are becoming more isolated. And that's prompting even more like aggression. And I think the idea is that men are like, I'm alone, so I'm going to be more aggressive. And it's like, but bro, it's going to make you more alone. But if you don't think being alone is a problem, then why would you change your behavior?
Right.
So
Damn. So what encouraged you to get your like? Because I've always wanted to get my master's, and you're getting a master's or PhD.
Masters.
Your master's. So what encouraged you to like go to school
Yeah.
and to like look at what's your thesis for the people that don't know?
Yeah, I'm writing my thesis. It's called Breaking Generational Cycles, Race, Labor, and Health in Fontana, California. So it's exploring how the city of Fontana are in generational cycles of oppression and health disparities, starting from like when Fontana was founded in the 1920s through like agriculture, and then the steel mill comes in and like ruins all the agriculture, and it's like the same shit's happening now with the Amazon warehouses and logistics industry. So this cycle is continuing, and that cycle reverberates down to like the residents, which are largely Latino here in the Inland Empire in general. So, and that means that we die faster. You know, like I mean, there's so many stats to name, and lots of great organizations who are doing this work much longer than I've been doing it. But like, if you're a kid born in San Bernardino County, in the first 12 days of your life, you're going to be exposed to as many cancerous carcinogens, which are just like particles in the air, as average person in the United States in their first 70 years. So in your first 2 weeks of life, that's what's like gonna happen, and it's fucked up. And so it's a topic that's near and dear to my heart. I've been on the podcast before and talked about just like kind of my journey to Stanford. I'm from here, love it here. I'm a product of my community, so I want to use my privilege in any capacities to give back to Fontana particularly. But it's been an interesting process to write about the place that you're from, because you read shit like that and you're like, just as a human being, you're like, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
And then you're like, damn, like, but that's happening to like Latino people, and I'm Mexican, I'm Latino, so that sucks. And then it's like, damn, that's happening to like people from my hometown. I'm from there. That's fucked up. And then it's like, that's happening to my friends, my family members. That's horrible. And then you go, that's me. Like, my life has been shortened. Like, I will most likely die from lung cancer because I've been raised here.
Down.
And it's like an interesting lens to go into any project with, you know, like when you're really trying to affect change and like read all these things about your community and be like, this affects me. You know, I'm reading about the things that have been put in place to bring me closer to death. You know, everything about racism, which is what I like to study. I like to say it's just about bringing you closer to death. People try to make racism very complex and nuanced, and it's really like racism is about making you die faster. And sometimes it's very blunt about like, we're going to murder you. But sometimes it's, we're going to give you bad air quality. We're going to put you in a food desert. We're going to pass these laws. It's all about like, how do we get you to die faster? So my thesis is exploring how does Fontana break a generational cycle? You know, how do we stop this from happening as it's been happening in Fontana's history? But it's also titled Breaking Generational Cycles because I'm trying to break generational cycles, even by completing the thesis and trying to improve my life. So has some meaning for the city and has some meaning for myself personally.
Yeah. See, I think that's like, and I think people often think like racism is disconnected from like what you're saying, making you die faster. But it really is like, you know, what motivated me to get in politics is literally that. I'm like, there's no such thing as like bad things happening. Like, they didn't just say being black was like bad.
Yeah.
Like that was politicized, that was legislated, and that was codified. Like it was bad to be black or to be brown or to be Asian. Like those are things that were actually like codified and were then implemented by law, you know? So I like 100% like agree with you. And I didn't even think about the fact that like it's a cycle, like that it was agriculture and then it was doomed by steel mill, then they left and then there was the warehouses and
Yeah, and even just like the random bullshit tracks that are all over the city that don't even really go anywhere, just a waste of space. Like I never thought, why the fuck is this here?
Yeah.
Like, I would just see it. I mean, obviously the warehouses just affect, like I've been more aware about it just because it's literally my neighborhood getting torn down. But I do always think of that constantly of like, especially when I go hiking, like you don't have to go that high up to see the entire layer
We have
of
the worst.
smog.
We have the worst air quality by ozone in
the nation, right?
Yeah.
San Bernardino has like the worst in nation. I did hear that stat like a few years
Yeah.
ago.
It's
Like,
it's
how the hell is it San Bernardino? We have the worst.
And we're
air
the
quality.
largest county too.
and it's tied to politics too, because like there are loopholes to make this happen. So like, you know, there are laws nationally. The EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, is like, yo, you can't have a building that emits a lot of smog. Like that's crazy. But warehouses bypass that because the buildings don't emit smog. It's all the diesel trucks.
Yeah.
So technically the buildings are fine. But 600,000 diesel trucks pass through the Inland Empire every single day.
I believe you.
And
60,000.
no, 600,000. Now making me want to fact check. 600,000. I'm like a little tired. I had a long day. y'all.
Number 6. 6 is in there.
It's a lot. And
crazy.
it contributes to just all of the pollution. So, but it technically is fine because the buildings aren't producing smog. That's why, like, when you see like freeways being expanded, like, why you think the 10 freeways are always under construction? It's not because more people are moving here. That I mean, more people are moving here, but that's not why. It's because
They need
more
bigger
diesel
roads,
trucks, you
yeah.
know, like, and that's why Fontana specifically was the site for the steel mill in general, which is what starts this generational cycle. Like, and I just promise it's not gonna be that boring. Pearl Harbor happens, boom, like Japan like bombs Hawaii, and USA is like, oh shit, like we gotta like strap up for real. But Hawaii's on the West Coast. All the steel mills are on the East Coast, and they're like, we gotta have a steel mill on the West Coast. And so this guy, Henry J. Kaiser, which Kaiser High School, Kaiser whatever, comes in and is like, yo, I could build a steel mill in California. But all the U.S. steel unions in the East Coast are like, nah, you're taking my business. So the government's like, what do we do? But low-key, we need to build ships faster in the West Coast. So, okay, we'll let you do it. But to make the East Coast steel mills happy, like in Pittsburgh and whatever, he was wanting to do it in L.A. And they're like, no, you can't do it in L.A. You have to do it at least 50 miles inland. So that was supposed to be like, you're not going to do it. So he found Fontana and was like, actually, this place has been an agriculture hub. They got a lot of irrigation. They got a lot of systems already built they got a lot of workers here. Let's just rip all this shit up and put a steel mill here. And it's on the way from like the Long Beach ports, the LA ports, nowadays, freeways, airports, etc. So this place has always been a place that industry is like, this is an attractive place.
Yeah.
And it's always been a place where it's like industry can be good here and who cares about the people here. It's called the sacrifice zone. And it's fucked up. And it's continuing today. And it's like affects that like long, like it's crazy to think how like that history of like Pearl Harbor affects the average person in the Inland Empire working in an Amazon warehouse.
Yeah.
Who are just trying to like make their money.
Yeah.
And do the best they can and like need like employment. It's like, yeah, but like these folks in power, these politicians, like these folks who dictate legislation, make these decisions all the time without you knowing. And then you're like, damn, like, why do I have asthma? And damn, how come the only job I can get is at a warehouse? And how come they're not paying me a living wage? And how come I have no control over this?
That's what I was going to say too. And it's not even just the fact that it's like the warehouses. It's like it's terrible conditions. It's terrible pay. They treat you badly. Like there's so many other things too. That is so insane. That is a beautiful history lesson you just dropped though. At the top of your head. I love that. Damn.
It's really important, I think, to even talk about like even zoning, right? Like people don't know like zoning is why the north side of Fontana looks like it looks, and that's why the south side of Fontana looks how it looks. Like this is all very much intentional. Like you said, like you get folks like Aquanetta Warren who are the mayor, and it's just like when you look at Fontana, I don't know if part of your thesis you could look at this, but like the city Fontana city manager is one of the highest paid in the nation.
Mhm.
Why is the Fontana city manager the highest paid in the nation? Fontana's not necessarily like, maybe Rialto is one of the top upcoming cities that it's that's booming, but like Fontana of all places, like why is our city manager being paid such a
Yeah.
high salary? Like where is this coming from?
And also, like, check me out. And we have an election next week, and in the research, when Henry Kaiser was coming to Fontana, one of the stated reasons he talked about was not just about the land and how it was 50 miles inland, but he was also like, I think the quote is like, this people in local government lacks confidence, so it's an easy place to kind of just bully and do things over, and that continues today. That's another generational cycle. There are 58 counties in California. San Bernardino County is the largest. And our last election was in 2022, general elections for like Congress and Senate and whatever. It wasn't a presidential election like this one. And in that election, we had a 40% voter turnout. That's the second lowest in the state. We're the largest county in the state, in the nation. And we had the second lowest voter turnout in the state. And that's something that politicians, industry makers take advantage of. They're like, folks are not going to vote. Folks aren't going to care. So actually, let me stop. Folks care a lot, but there's a lot of intimidation, misinformation. It's not easy to access how to vote or who to vote for or to build trust with folks. And so since the beginning of Fontana's industrialization, this has been a talking point of like, oh, we could do shit here and people aren't gonna vote folks out, which is why it's important. Like the presidential election is important, whatever. But like locally, it's like cool, like Kamala, Trump, I don't know, whatever, cool, bro. But like you live here, like you live here. A lot of people who are from here stay here, raise their families here. Your kids are here. Like we're dying, for real, and it's really sad. So there's a lot to be done, but like it's important for folks to just like go out and like vote. In Fontana particularly, which I'm most interested in, 2024 is not a big year for the city. Mayor, city controller, a couple district seats are up in 2026.
Yeah, theirs is during the midterm election.
Which is,
they got so lucky for real.
And I don't know if that's luck, it's by design.
Yeah,
like presidential election years get higher voter turnouts than off, because it's like you hear it all the time. It's president election, so you're gonna go to the ballot. But it's fucked up. There's so like many things. If you want to vote right now in Fontana early, according to the Secretary of State's website, because I checked this out, there is not one place in Fontana you can go and vote early. Not one place. Wow. You got to go to Rupa Valley. Every other city has that. If you want to vote in Fontana, you got to mail in, which you should, or you need to go in person day of. And some people don't have time to do that. Like some people people need flexible schedules.
Yeah.
Or people are changing their address. If you're like me, who just moved back to Fontana and missed the voter deadline to change their address, because low-key I was a little dumb, you can go in person. Be like, oh, I can go in person day of and be like, yo, here's my ID, here's this, I need a ballot. But people don't know that.
Provisional ballot. I want you guys to know also you're legally entitled time away from work to go vote. So by law, that is a law. Look at your employee handbook or ask ChatGPT, even though it uses a lot of water and it's really bad for the environment. Don't use ChatGPT. Just go on Google.
Go on Google.
Just go on Google. Go on Google.
Go on Reddit.
Go on Reddit. Go on Reddit. Like you're legally allowed some time to go vote. And then if you go to vote, doesn't matter where you're from, and they tell you or they send you away, specifically in California, but everywhere nationwide, let's say worldwide, but I'm just in theme. You can request a provisional ballot and that has to be counted. But remember, a provisional ballot, you absolutely can request that and go vote in person day of the election. See, and I feel like people don't understand that, like, they spend so much money to dissuade you from voting. Like, they don't want you to vote. They actually want you to believe your vote means nothing. Like, I was actually listening to a podcast from the New York Times, and they were talking about, not my group of people, but like just talking about how disinformation, and like misinformation is different from disinformation, right? Because like misinformation is just like inaccurate information, but disinformation is like intentionally, like you're purposely misleading people like with information. And so they were talking to like a group of Trump supporters, right? And these Trump supporters, they were just like, you know, don't mail in your ballot, go vote in person, but like also they stole the election, so your vote doesn't count. And then, but you want to go early, and you want to just, if you can't do anything, then just send in your mail-in ballot. And it's just like so much misinformation and disinformation that these same people are not even like incentivized to vote, because they're like, well, my vote doesn't matter. Like, well, you told me I lost the last election, so why would I go out and vote if you just told me they're not going to count this vote?
Yeah.
Right.
And it's also like there's another interesting thing that I've been thinking about with voting in a presidential election. So like even this like cycle, there's a lot of folks. I actually don't think it's a lot, which is a part of the issue. But there's a fair amount of folks in my circles, perhaps in y'all circles or your circles, who are more quote unquote liberal, but are like, I don't want to vote. I'm not voting for Kamala. I don't support her prison industrial complex. I don't support her support of Israel, and I don't support genocide. And like, I personally agree with that. Like, it's your right. That's real. Like, we're living in like dangerous times, and we need to feel okay with it, and we need to feel like we're doing everything we can as a singular human being to contribute or not contribute to these things. But the danger in that is like, you know, okay, cool, bro, but locally, it's important. And I think sometimes like we attach, you know, this presidential election with voting in general, where it's like, okay, like I hear you, like perhaps you don't want to vote for or whatever the reason is, but like I think that distracts from local elections, which I think probably nationwide are really important, but I can only speak about the community that I'm from. Around here, like they fuck us up.
They hate
locally.
this.
Like they just like they get away with shit all the time because 40% of people vote. Like no one goes out to vote. So whether it's like folks who are just don't want to vote because they don't support any presidential candidate, whether it's folks who are just disengaged with voting in general, whether it's like maybe it's not you, maybe like people who listen to the podcast like are from here and leave, but like your parents still live here, your grandparents live here, your uncles still live here. And like I know what it's like they don't be voting like that. Like it's cool, I get it, but it's like make it easy for them. There are plenty of like voter guides that are just like, you don't got to think about it, I'll send you it. Like here, like this is how you should vote. If you really don't care, you're like, I don't know what to vote. Like I'll make it easy for you. And there are lots of great organizations, PC4EJ,
Chirla has
Courage
Parent
California.
Plan.
There's like lots of like organizations that are like, here's how to vote.
And if you
'Cause
want
it's real.
unbiased, you can go to Cal Matters, and that's like fully unbiased, and it tells you who endorses it, like what party endorses it, who's like the sponsor of it, a bunch of information. So like if you don't want something biased too, right? Because there's some people like my sister, she's like, send me it, but send me unbiased. Like I want to come to that conclusion on my own.
Yeah.
And that's fine, but I absolutely like, I actually love to do what you do. I love to go to organizations that I support and just see, well, what are they voting?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time, I'm gonna be honest, even though I am in politics, I don't always want to do deep
None
research.
of us have the time.
Yeah,
they
that's
make voting hard.
And yeah, and that was actually tomorrow. It was so funny. I was on the phone. My grandma's like, "Are you gonna send me what to vote on your ballot?" But I was like, "Yeah." I was gonna sit down tomorrow and like do my full research, because I got to do the research for Hesperia. I got to do research for Victorville, because all my family lives in different places. So I got to like see. So an easy thing I like to do when I'm like looking over everyone else's ballots is, I like to go to that person. Typically, if they're running, they have a page. They'll say ISIS for Assembly, right? Whoa, maybe not Stephanie for Assembly. I don't know if I want to get
Pitbull for Assembly.
Pitbull for Assembly. Mr. Worldwide for Assembly, right?
Dale.
So if you go to Pitbull for Assembly, you go down there, and then you're like, well, I go to their bio, right? Okay, they're immigrants. They came to this country. They came pick cotton, agriculture. Oh, just like me. Who endorses them? Then you go to the endorsements. Endorsements will reveal to you what they actually care for, because these are people who have talked to them and they have a great concept in terms of like what their policies are, who they support. If they are backed by the police
Mm-hmm.
union, then that's something you can take into consideration. If they're backed by Black Lives Matter orgs, if they're backed by women orgs, if they're backed by young people orgs, maybe that's someone that you're more leaning towards. If you're more, conservative, then you might care that they're the DA with the PD with like all these institutions. But if you're more of like, you know what, I want to do police reform and I'm really interested in electing your DA, which you do actually. Who endorses them? Do I want a DA that's more tough on crime and is gonna create more felonies and more misdemeanors and put more people in jail? Or do I want to reduce recidivism and somebody who believes in like rehabilitation and connecting people to resources and that like not all people should go to jail for a lot of times or doesn't believe in bail bonds and etc. Like these are things that you could take into consideration. Like you don't even have to think hard. Like should more people go to jail? Should less people go to jail? Do I care about like reforming it and giving people resources? Because I think what we've learned is like recidivism is a result of like the fact of that there's not a lot of resources and then there's it's a cycle, right? Like even school to prison pipeline. So just go who endorses them. Do I align more with the endorsers or the other person running against them? Do those more align with me? I feel like endorsements are a really good way
Guideline.
to like a guideline to who that person is.
And I feel like it's very easy, like for people like me who, aren't so into politics to kind of, not saying this is me specifically, but like it's very easy to be like, well, it's the president's fault. Like no one, especially in a society right now that we're so introverted, like community really doesn't exist, that you're like, well, it's this person's fault. Obviously, it's not anyone here because we're not doing it. Like no one's really aware, like you said, that we can make those small changes here, but it does take a collective. And since community is so lacking, especially after COVID, it's hard to really, like you said, build that trust with people who are running. Because like I'll see the signs and I'm like, who the fuck are you?
And why are you talking to me now? Because there's an election.
Exactly. Like why are you sending me all these fucking shit in my mail? Like I don't know you. And it's literally like, vote, don't vote for him. Vote for her, don't vote for her. Like there's really no information. It's just kind of a statement of like, okay, but why? Like, who are you? What are you trying to sell me here? And it's always just a facade, really.
And it's and it creates a narrative sometimes of like people are not politically engaged, and it's a dangerous narrative because this is not my original thought. It's a thought by Vince Staples, who's a great recording artist, rapper, actor, director. But he had an interview like years ago, and they were talking about a presidential election, and he was like, "Look, like my friends don't vote for the president." Because you know who the president is? Like the sheriff in our neighborhood. And we know Officer Hernandez, Officer Venezuela, Officer Smith, and we know that they patrol from this street to this street, this time. But people don't think of that as being politically engaged. But that's actually extreme political engagement. That's your president. Like that is the White House. Like that is the Oval Office. Like that, like jurisdiction.
Yeah.
But what happens is, presidential elections, Congress elections, they affect those things, but things are not immediate enough for people. Like people have, and that's what capitalism and like systems do. It's like, it'll be great if you had time to research who to vote, but I have to go to work and I have to pay my bills and there's a pothole in my street and I don't know why it's there. So like there is so many things that intentionally stop us from being more largely politically aware because we have to be more immediate and urgent in our needs. So this isn't like a spiel to be like, people just aren't educated enough. It's like people aren't given the right chances. People are not set up for success.
I agree. We're not taught about like even our civic duty in school.
No. I mean, and then you just turn 18 and they're like, well, do it.
Yeah, I remember I was in like AP honors class and like government. I don't really remember like them really pushing that idea. And I was with someone who is actually like, I think that man is probably like super like liberal leftist. Actually, now that I think about it, well, yeah, actually now that I know, but like, it's not maybe with his class I did, but previous classes I was never encouraged like, you need to vote. You need to know who that is. He actually was really good at like saying that, but again, it's because I think he was probably so far left to the extreme that
I have never ever. I have not a single memory in school of them trying to teach anything relevant outside of just the curriculum.
And also, like, guess what? Like, let's think about all like the kids, students, whatever, who like maybe are a little more politically aware or like have desire and the resources to be. what do? They leave.
Mm-hmm. Brain drain.
I left. We leave, right? We leave, and it's like I vote in Los Angeles now because that's where I live. I vote in San Francisco now because that's where I live. And guess what? That's where a lot of politically where people we flock to big cities.
Mm-hmm.
And so like there's more resistance there, but that leaves places like Fontana in the Inland Empire with the lowest voters turnout in the state.
Yeah.
And like, how are we giving back to our community? Not everyone can move back home or wants to move back home or should move back home. But, you know, everyone has roots here. And there are ways that we can affect change just by influencing our family members. And no, that isn't always the easiest conversation or maybe requires some patience. Or maybe it's just something that can actually be really fun. It's just an exercise to try because like when we work so hard to get to the places that we want to go, it's our like civic duty as like human beings to like help one another and help the places that we're from.
Yeah. And I think back to your point, Steph, like how you're like, oh, well, this is the president's fault. Like, I think a lot of Latinos and like Black voters, just because this is like where I've specifically seen, are miseducated in terms of saying like Trump sent me that stimmy check. Let me make something very clear, and this is fact. You could research it. You could look at the law. The Congress sent you a check, and they actually wanted to send you $600 monthly for I think up to I can't remember how many months, but I think the total was they wanted to send like it was 4 checks for $600, so it was $24,400 that Congress, folks that you elect at your senators and your House of Representatives, they wanted to send you, not they, Democrats wanted to send you $600 for 4 months. So it would have been $2,400. The president at the time, it was 2020, Donald Trump, and Republicans were against sending people stimulus checks. They wanted to send them $0. So they compromised, and that's why we received $1,200. And the checks were actually delayed. Let me remind you that they were delayed because Trump wanted his signature on that check because he wanted it to be perceived as though he sent that signature you. But that's not true. It was Congress who sent you that check, and Congress wanted to send you more money. Democrats wanted to send you $2,400, but you got left with $1,200 because Republicans were wanting to give you $0. So we need to clarify that because there's a misinterpretation that people are going to get another stimulus when a Republican president comes into office. Baby, that is a lie. They're trying to cut Social Security. They're trying to cut Medicare. They're trying to cut Department of Education. Talking about being uneducated, like people need to.
No, and what's even crazy about that is that he blatantly said, if you do not follow the curriculum, we are telling you we're just not going to send you money. And like, I don't know. I feel like with this election, it feels heavier, not just because she's a woman, but it just feels so much heavier than the last time because the blatant just disregard for the care of Americans is insane to me. It is just insane to me how just not even little, non-existent the care that he has for Americans is. And the fact that Americans can see him speak publicly and still have any inclination towards him blows my mind.
I think it's something that makes a lot of sense to me personally, in my opinion, because I think Americans see a reflection of themselves in Donald Trump. I think as a country, we are built upon and have profited off of and continue to proliferate this idea of like extreme greed. So like this idea that like we can watch someone like Donald Trump say like horrible things and we might have a reaction like, how could you support that? Like that and Stokely Carmichael says this, like that presupposes that the United States of America and its citizens have a conscience. And broadly, you know, we really haven't seen that evidence. You know, we reward hyper consumerism, we reward greed, we reward violence, we reward you know, individualist mindset. Like we are like the pinnacle of the West and like the Western philosophies, which I'm not even super educated in, but I just know that like, you know, the rest of the world don't fuck with us. And so when Donald Trump is acting like that, I think a lot of people are like, yeah, that's how I'm supposed to act. Look, he's successful.
Right.
Successful. So like that's how we should be. And that's, not something that we just have watched on television with him. Like, that's something that goes back to our founding. But it's like really ingrained, I think, in our
But
upbringing as a nation, because
no,
like
100%. I feel like when it goes back to like the founding like fathers, I'm just always like they didn't know any fucking better.
yeah.
We do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where I'm like I don't get it because as Americans, just the way, but I guess no, it just goes back to like where you were raised, and the way that history is rewritten and told in the perspective of, the like the white, what is that shit? The manifest destiny and all that bullshit.
Actually, to think what you're thinking, like, I guess, yeah, that is true. Like, when you look at our history, even when we think about Latinos, right, the Monroe Doctrine, like, that set a precedent that nobody in the other world could fuck with Latin America except the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, it absolutely would make sense that we'd be incredibly selfish.
And it goes to like
Trump would be
urgent. It
representative
goes.
of
To, I'm
that.
sorry to cut you off. It
No, no,
goes
that's it.
to urgency again. Like I was talking about. Like if you're, I don't know, like a voter in Ohio, and I've been fortunate to travel to a good amount of like American states. Like I genuinely feel like
I'm sorry, I thought you were gonna say I've been unfortunate enough to go to.
no,
Ohio.
I've been fortunate enough. Like I think like people, I think genuinely like just want what's best for their families.
Yeah.
Like really, really like there's a good amount of folks who are hateful, but like I think the majority of people just want what's best for their families, and they're gonna do what they think is best. And if they're like Donald Trump's gonna cut gas prices, that's a bigger deal to folks than women's reproductive rights, to Israel Gaza, to all these things. And I'm not saying that's how it should be, but like that's how we think as Americans. It's like, what is my immediate need?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it my retirement? Is it my minimum wage? Is it gas prices? Tell me who's going to give me the most money, because we're in the country's largest wealth gap in our history. So, like, I don't give a fuck what y'all talking about. Just give me my money.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an unfortunate reality. And that's what happens. Like, I like to say, like, we should be hard on systems and soft on people. Like, I honestly think people are mostly, I mean, there are some people who are terrible, but mostly people are like trying their best.
Yeah.
But people prey on that. People like Donald Trump prey on that shit, where it's just like, I know y'all want this stimulus check, and I put my name on the stimulus check, so y'all think I gave it to y'all. So like, you're gonna just, it's fucked up.
And even to your point, like, people want immediate results, right? For example, when we talk about like the cycle of the economy, so Obama inherited a Republican economy, right? And like he has to fix that. So when Obama fixes the economy, then Trump inherits the Obama economy. So that's why it's going up. So now that Biden's in office, Biden inherited the Trump economy. And I think one thing that people don't realize that was like something that is immediate effects and we did feel is like the Trump 2017 tax cut, which actually harmed people at the bottom and made the people who make the least amount of money pay the highest amount in taxes. But it was structured in a way that the first year, 2 years, 3 years, poor people would get more money back. So that when do you think it became effective that you got taxed the most? That's right. When Biden was elected, 2020. That's when you felt the effects of that. So that's when the lowest tax bracket was paying the highest. And they're like, why is everything costing so much money? Like, why am I not getting so much back on my Cali ITC tax return? Like, why is my check getting smaller? Because Donald Trump's tax cut taxes for the highest earners and corporations. So big corporations, which were already finding loopholes to not pay federal taxes anyways, were now even further disincentivized to pay taxes because they didn't have to. They were not mandated by law to pay taxes, and their taxes were decreased. And what happened? Inflation rose. Like when we talk about now, like when we're like, damn, when we go to the grocery store, why is everything so expensive, right? And it's actually greedflation. It's not inflation. So what I was reading, I read an article from The Guardian that it was talking about why is everything costing so much money. So right when we go back to 2021, everything cost a lot of money because it was a pandemic. It did cost more to import money, to import goods, to like have a business. It just cost a lot more money, right? It went up by 25%. So goods went up by 25%. But what happened? eventually cost of shipping goods and manufacturing goods and producing goods decreased. So now it's now decreased down to like 23% or 20%. So inflation currently is only at 3%. So why is everything still expensive? Well, because companies have been making record-breaking profits.
Yeah.
And we're not only that, we're monopolized. So there's only, let's say we're talking about grocery store, right? Really, there's only maybe like 4 major chains that own all grocery stores across the nation. And so they've been making so much money. And because prices were so high during the pandemic, they've just kept them high. They're like, you know what? Even though it's now costing us 10 cents per banana when in 2020 it was costing us 20, we're just going to keep it at 20 cents because people are still buying it and we're not incentivized to reduce the price. Government is not telling us to stop price gouging. They're not stopping mergers. So we're continuing to monopolize. And again, we don't even need to communicate it to each other to increase or decrease prices because we've already set the standard.
Mm-hmm.
So this is all a direct result of like policy, and it's like inflation. This is not has anything to do with even the Federal Reserve. It's just corporations are so greedy and they're making so much money. They're like, we're just gonna make everyone continue to pay 25% more for goods.
And that was a really beautiful and succinct like explanation of that. And also, you know how complicated it is to be poor? Like all
Yeah.
that goes into like keeping folks poor. You know how expensive it is to be poor? I don't know what y'all's upbringing was like. I've like for real been poor and been on food stamps and been on house for a short amount of time. And a lot of folks where we're from, undergo that. And I just don't think like it makes me emotional. I just don't think people understand how hard it is to break that cycle.
Yeah.
Like all that shit goes into keeping populations poor, dependent on government assistance to continue to keep them out of higher education institutions, out of larger corporations, out of high paying jobs. Like, and it's so hard for people to break out of that. It's so hard, like, to overcome like all the systemic barriers that are put against you, not to mention all the psychological things that happen because of that. Like you think you're less than, you think you don't belong in these places, you think you don't deserve this. It's tragic. It's tragic. And like, like it's, there's an election next week and it's important, and also not every problem can be solved at the ballot box. Like there's a lot of work to be done everywhere, particularly in the Inland Empire. And, we just need more people to be aware and just more people to care. I just feel like people and we're led to that. Like we're led to apathy, and apathy is a tool of the ruling class, like it always has been. Like you're led to be like, well, I can't do anything anyway.
Yeah,
like
what am I gonna change?
That's what you're supposed to. That's what they want. That's what you're supposed to feel like. And it's hard to be imaginative. Like it's hard to imagine a different reality for yourself, for your mom, for your cousin, for your city, for your neighborhood. And especially since it's generationally been a thing in our city, it's like, well, this is what this city has always been. So how are we creating new visions for ourselves and for our city in conjunction with each other?
Yeah.
So in your research, what do you think is the answer? Do you have the answer?
Well, Pitbull, I think there are perhaps multiple answers. There are lots of organizations and people who have been doing this research, so I really don't want to posit that I'm like any sort of like trailblazer or anything like that. I think I'm continuing a tradition, but
it could be a source.
I'm trying to be one of many. Political engagement. So even just like, again, getting that number up, like if more people voted, if more people voted, I feel like things would look different. So one, like getting political engagement, but that's an output. Like to get there, you need to build trust. And you need to build like community trust. And so wanting to have different foundations in the city, different scholarships in the city, different small business programs. Like how are we investing in Fontana, particularly the Inland Empire in general, but I'm always going to focus on Fontana. In this city, there's a lot of pride, I think. It's something that I feel like people are really proud to be from Fontana, but there's nowhere to put that pride.
Yeah.
I think recently I've seen it be put in opposition to things. There are protests against warehouses. There are protests against some unlawful arrests. But that's in opposition to something. That means like we're being taken advantage of, we're fighting back. But what about like things that we're proud of? Where do we like deposit that pride? If we have this pride as an individual, where do I put it towards? We don't have a sports team. I don't have like a Dodger hat I can put on for Fontana. I don't have like, what are things that we can be like, that's ours, I like this. And so I do think generally, right, we got to get people in office and we got to get people to vote and we got to change laws. All that's important. But I also think we should not underestimate the idea of how do we create systems where folks can deposit their pride and make it like reciprocal. Like why don't we have scholarship programs people can donate to? Why don't we have like local foundations? There are some foundations and there are a lot of nonprofits, but I don't know. It's a weird place here. Shit's political and like shit gets weird. Like there needs to just be more avenues for engagement, for joy, for pride.
And I feel like if there's ever a city like Fontana has just the perfect potential because there's so many random spaces that can be filled with something beautiful, like you said, something where can bring everybody together, or like one of those things where it's like you said, like I feel like Riverside has Mount Rubidoux and like just things like that, like even just the run, it's something that's bringing Riverside together, obviously. And I feel like downtown Fontana has so much potential to kind of just be this space where like the residents can go and feel like, you know what, this is our community, this is our our space to be.
There's a lot of land, and you know what's being put there? Warehouses.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. In 2004, there were 44 warehouses in the Inland Empire. Today, there's over 4,000.
I think we have like 10% of the nation's like goods go through here.
Wow, that's insane. 4,000 in San Bernardino County.
Yeah,
That's
and more
crazy.
and growing. So it's there's lots of things to be done.
I do think I want to say, like, I feel like when food trucks blew up, I do think it's something that created kind of a stable here in Fontana because there's still a lot of food trucks.
And then they're trying to take those shits away too.
Yeah, they did.
Because why? Because they to me, like, it's because they see it. That's what I'm talking about. They're like, we can't have them thinking they can sustain on their own.
Exactly.
Like, we can't have them be like, oh, like, we don't need to, like, we could do this ourselves. Like, and then they posit like, it's not safe.
Yeah, right. People are getting sick.
Small business owners are complaining. It's like, who's complaining?
Yeah.
And if they are, it's only a couple.
Yeah.
But like, it's,
You could probably point them out and you could just guess who they're voting for.
No, really.
At the end of the day, like these are food trucks or little food stands put up by like Latinos. Most of these people here are Latinos. Like, let's be honest. If you're all down Arrow, they're all Mexican food. Shout out to the one Sushi Wong place. They do have a good sushi.
Or even just the fact that like they cleared out Skid Row, and where did they bring everybody? Here.
Yeah, a lot of people were dropped off in San Bernardino too. San Bernardino became like one of the worst places to live in all of California.
There was it just was released. It looked pretty reputable. I don't remember the website. They rank based on like different like air quality, pollution. They interview folks who live in the city about their satisfaction, unhoused populations. They use the word homeless. And they rank dirtiest cities. San Bernardino was ranked number 1 in the country. Fontana was ranked number 22, and it was one of the smallest cities being ranked that high because our air quality is so bad. But San Bernardino, particularly, worse air quality and enormously rising unhoused population. Like, a lot of Inland Empire cities are in that top 25, top 50 of being labeled dirty, based on like their criteria. And I think it's legitimate criteria, but it's just like there is, and like when you are even in like human psychology, if you feel dirty, you don't feel valuable,
right?
And that's the point. It's like, oh, we're meant to whatever, like, we're from the tuck. It is what it is. It's like, no, like we don't have. It doesn't have to be this way. Like we all deserve clean air, clean streets, places to live.
Yeah, I do agree. That's crazy. I can't believe San Bernardino's number 1 in the nation. That's literally insane. Like, what do you mean San Bernardino County or San Bernardino City, a random ass little city? It's not even like a huge like metropolitan, or like it's like San Bernardino. Come on, like the Dino.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's crazy to us, I think, because we grew up here and it's so like close to us. But like, think of someone in fucking Like on the other
Oklahoma.
side of the fucking country, like they hear San Bernardino, and that's
Like,
literally
we're
what they
worse
think
than a
of.
city in Alabama. Like, Alabama is one of the, like, the worst fucking states in the nation. Or Texas has one of the Texas was one of, like, actually one of the worst because they have like no workers' rights, a whole bunch of bullshit. And no, it's a little old city in California.
There's a new show called, I think it's called
Damn.
High Potential or something like that.
I got sent that clip
Really, like a billion times.
a billion times.
What?
That shit pissed me off.
It
bro.
literally makes
pissed me
no
off.
fucking sense.
pissed me
Okay,
off.
explain to the audience.
It's a show about this woman with a very high IQ who's working at a police station, I'm assuming in LA.
Mhm.
And it's whatever. It's not a great show, but she ends up being really smart and is helping them to solve cases. They bring up Fontana. They're like, "Oh, he was in Fontana." They're interrogating him. Why did they paint it out to be like a Palm Springs?
What?
They're like, there's only 2 reasons you go to Fontana. I can't remember the first one, and they're like, and the second one is if you want a cheap bachelorette.
They said like you go there to marry your cousin, or you go there to like it's a middle of nowhere town. They just said really like it's a fictional show. It's like a scripted show, and they're like this decided this murder like suspect was from Fontana, whatever it was.
No, he was like spending time in Fontana. Or
Sure,
something.
yeah, and it was like what they're like, what's in Fontana? And they're like nothing really, and then they just go on this like 2-minute rant,
Just disparaging
just
the
like
fucking
taking
city.
shots
Damn.
and like
taking shots, but painting it like it's somewhere. Like, when have you ever heard of anyone having a bachelorette in Fontana,
I'm
California?
like, they be leaving.
Give me one fucking
Fontana.
bar that's a bachelorette party.
Punch
go
Bowl's
to
not even in
Fontana.
Fontana.
that shit like really makes me upset because like we don't get a lot of opportunities in like media
Mhm.
representation. Y'all do a great job at that.
Thanks.
Me forgetting we're on camera. I'm
yeah.
on what?
Hey, people.
Me forgetting that I'm literally with bald cap.
But you know, like if you're not on a podcast with Mr. Worldwide's plural,
Thank you.
we don't get a lot of opportunities for like media representation, and like for
Yeah.
that to be what the representation is, like it made me so mad. I was
Yeah.
like, bro, people are really from here. You
Yeah.
could have said nothing.
Mhm.
Like what? Like it made no sense. Like it had nothing to do with the plot.
Nothing.
It just was like an aside of like why like people like who I don't talk to like in years from college sent me this being like, hey, I saw this and like I got upset on your behalf because like I know you really ride for your city, and it's like why like but when you're deemed a dirty city, when you have a generational history of being, you know what happened to me one time? When I first moved away from Fontana, I moved to Oakland. I had a job, and I used to like lie about where I'm from. Now I don't lie about where I'm from, and so I started saying like I'm from Fontana, and most of the time people are like, "Where's that? I don't know where that's at."
Mhm.
And one person was like, "Oh, I know where that is. Isn't that where that like huge dump is from?" And I was like, off put, but I know what she was talking about. And in my research, I learned that in the 1920s, we had Fontana farms, and our biggest import was garbage. We would take like 6 rail carts of garbage from LA, feed the pigs with it, and that would use it for like it was garbage, right? Like that was our economy for a while. And that's why Henry Kaiser was like, oh, like we could do this with steel, whatever. But when that's like that, I'm sure that person did not know that.
Yeah.
But that's how reputation works.
Mhm.
Like it just
Damn.
persists and continues and continues. And when shows like that have a clip that's just
Yeah.
like Fontana's like a hick town in the middle of nowhere, it's like, one, like that's not true. But 2, like you are furthering a really damaging narrative that dehumanizes people here
Yeah.
Mhm.
and allows for like government entities, companies to do whatever they want. Because
Yeah.
like who gives a fuck about Fontana?
We do.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Mr.
That's
Worldwide
3.
does.
Mr. Worldwide,
Pitbull
specifically worldwide in Fontana.
Pitbull,
Damn.
if you could, do some advocating, you should come down and like
You know
Yes.
what? I feel like he would. Did you guys ever see that whole Walmart thing with Pitbull?
No.
It's the most beautiful story.
you really love him. Like
I
you're such
do
a-
ride
you're-
for this
you
man.
ride or die.
For me.
I almost decked Isis earlier
Darling.
because she
did.
swore to God that he was a Trumpy. And I was
I
like,
thought.
show me
'Cause he's-
where he says this.
'Cause he's
Because he's
Cuban.
Cuban.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But,
I was,
but,
I was already defamed on TikTok because I was talking shit about Cubans.
No,
I wasn't talking
he-
shit about Cubans.
yeah.
Just
We
the Cubans of
corrected
Florida.
it. She came to her her senses.
No, I still stand on what I said.
Okay.
About what?
Well, I said that a lot of Colombians.
Oh, Cubans.
Oh,
Yeah.
Cubans,
But
yeah.
like, this doesn't.
I'll say some other shit. Yeah, I take that back.
He's had a lot of the 3 back-to-back shows.
Yeah,
like,
Yeah.
So
She's
just
just
got
been
off
on
of
tour.
Ricky
The
Martin.
voting numbers for Cubans is kind of crazy though. I be looking at demographic numbers and I'm like, y'all be voting like hella like Republican. Like,
That's what I'm saying. What I said was on business because it's absolutely
Right,
true.
yeah.
Reagan passed a little law and motherfuckers started acting real brand new. And they had a bunch of different laws. The Cuban Adjustment American Act, right? Would let anyone that was already here. There's a lot of laws that were in place that allow Cubans to bypass the complex, the complicated process, the complex process that is like immigration. Like they don't have to deal with 20 years of trying to fight to be here. You just got to come wet foot, dry foot. And that's why y'all were mad at Obama because he ended it in 2017. That's not his fault. I thought y'all cared about immigration and people should get here legally.
Damn, I don't even know about that. I want to do more research on it. But Walmart
to
and
talk about
Pitbull.
it.
Walmart and Pitbull. I don't
Yeah,
remember when it
anyways.
was. It was a few years ago
I
though
digress.
that Walmart and Pitbull did like a collaboration where they were like, whoever gets the most likes on their post, I'll come perform. So as a joke, a bunch of people were like, let's look at the most buttfuck nowhere Walmart ever, and let's like that post to see if like Pitbull keeps his word. And it was this tiny town in Alaska. And
Alaska.
literally, people
That's all you had
as
to
a joke started like voting for like that location, and he went and he performed for like 30 people. And he was just like, I don't like you guys. This is a joke to you guys, but like I'm gonna go wherever. Like I'm welcome. Like my community's forever. Like he's just such a man of the people that I love him to death. I think he's one of the greatest people. Like first of all in the media, and second of all probably just in general. And even when like at his concert, he's just. I feel like he's one of those people that made me realize that, which is like, duh, you know, this is like no shit, but everybody goes through their own journey of like being grateful for whatever situation you're in, good or bad, is very important. And I think when you're in a huge moments of grief, you lose sight of that. And going to his concert and just hearing him speak about his story, a teacher changed his life. Like having someone like that represented is really beautiful to me because it kind of reminds me that I'm in pain, but like I'm gonna surpass. But and again, this is all common knowledge, but it just kind of takes that one person for you to really be like, wow, like this person really genuinely cares about students, about school, about teachers, about their community, about Latinos. Like all of that is so beautiful for me to see that I have no other emotion but love for him. And honestly, I am a huge fan of his music, and I love that his music's all remixes, but it's all remixes of old Latino music. Like the originals, like it's just amazing to me, and I love him to death.
Hey, we at the hotel, motel, and maybe that's not the song to quote at this one. Go girl, go girl.
Yes, I love him. I think he's the best, and I hope I get to meet him one day. And I would love Pitbull, if you're listening to this, you could come on this podcast. I would literally I would lose my shit, honestly.
Besties, please tag
Pitbull. Tell him I love him.
Pitbull.
Even if he doesn't come on the podcast, even if he just knows that little Stephanie from Fontana, California, loves him to death, that will be enough for me.
Hey, heavy on the Fontana, California.
Yeah. Because I've never been a hater of Fontana or the Inland Empire. Like, I feel like I always loved living here, especially when I was younger, because of the agriculture. Like, my high school was new, but it was right next to the chicken coops. I was surrounded by cows and horses. My back neighbors had this humongous nursery, and now it's like a parking lot for trucks. And every morning I have to listen to those bitches turn on and off. And like, they're used to, like, the nursery was almost all the way to the other half of the block, and now it's just this. You're not even allowed to drive those big ass diesel trucks on my street, but there they are, fucking up my street, creating potholes all the time. I don't even have a sidewalk. Please help. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, I love Fontana. I always have. I don't know, especially when I realized that a lot of the things that I liked were very, I guess stereotypical. Like, you know, when you're driving down the 10, you know you're home when you see that like truck, the diesel truck on Cherry, and like just those little quirks that every city has. Like, I love that about here. I used to go to the Fontana Theater behind Cardenas. Like, that was my theater. I would not drive to Ontario. Like, I would go here. Like, I think I've always been very active in the Fontana community, Fontana days, you know, like all that shit is like, it's nice. It's cute. I love it.
What do you think made you like really, when you switched from saying, "Oh, I'm not from Fontana" to Fontana? Like, what made you like earn? Maybe you've always had that pride, but what made you like actually have pride and share it? Because I think a lot of us, we do say we're from somewhere else because we're like, oh, I don't want to have to explain that this is like they're like, oh, that's nowhere. So I think for a lot of us, when we move out and we go to different spaces, that's how like we're like, okay, well, LA, right? Because that's everyone fucking knows.
Yeah.
So like, what was it that switched that made you be like, fuck that, I'm from Fontana?
A couple of things. One, my family, my mom's side of the family, who I mostly grew up with, is from Compton. So it was like really, really like deep generational Compton, LA roots. And so, like my grandma still lives in Compton. I spent a lot of time. If I wasn't in Fontana, I was at my grandma's house over the weekend. So like, I knew that wasn't where I was from, and there's so I saw that pride of like there are people here who are from Compton, and like I would never say I'm from there because like I'm not from there. My family's from there, but I'm not from there. My cousins are really from there, and they really fucked me up. They were like, "No, you're not." Right. So one, this a differentiating of like I'm not from LA, bro, because like people are really from LA. My immediate family's from Los Angeles. You know, I am really a product of Fontana and my community, and I spoke about this before on the show, but I suppose it bears like repeating. I went through a bout of homelessness or just being in a house for a little bit. I didn't go to school my first year of high school because we were unhoused and couldn't afford it, and just a lot of things compiled. And my community really took like road for me. I went to Fontana High School. My alma mater hired me as a college tutor, even though I wasn't in college. Kept my job through college so I could pay for college. Got me scholarships. Have put me like on the front of newspapers. Like my city, like has really put a lot of belief in me. And it's something that like I kind of have never not known. But I will say that I had a mentor. Not even, I can't even say mentor because I didn't spend a lot of time with her. But someone I looked up to. Her name is Barbara Chavez. Rest in peace. She was, I believe, president of the school board for a cool amount of time. If not, was on the Fontana school board for a minute. I believe was affiliated with Fontana High School in different administrative roles. Her daughter, Carly Chavez, was a teacher at Fontana High School for some time. Was my teacher in freshman year. Anyway, it's like a junior in high school at Faux High. Counselors were being cut, and my college counselor, my avid counselor in high school were like, you're a good speaker, you should go speak at the school board. So I did, and got some good like responses. They're like, hey, come next week and try to like help us stop this like bill from being passed or whatever. So I go give this speech. And there was press there, and like press wanted to talk to me. So I was giving this speech critiquing the school board. So I'm in front of the school board. Barbara Chavez is right there, and I'm critiquing her. I don't know her. I don't even know that she's my teacher's mother. But that happens, right? I'm going hard, and
wait, and that was the teacher that motivated you to go speak?
No.
Oh, the counselors are telling. Oh, you're avid counselor. Okay.
Yeah. But she was an avid teacher, so I actually think that must have been an interesting time.
Yeah.
But so I'm going to go talk to press, and I don't know, 16 at the time, and Barbara Chavez pulls me aside. He was like, "Hey, young man, like, great." Even though I was really critiquing her, and really not knowing what I was critiquing, I was just like, "Y'all couldn't counselors, this is bad." She was like, "Hey, young man, like, great job speaking today. Your press is gonna talk to you. Like, just remember, like, told me a couple things, like, like be, speak clearly, and like, don't be afraid." And at the end, she was like, "And don't remember to tell them where you're from." And that like really stuck with me about like, yeah, like that is important. And I've tried to just like keep that. Any like little, I'm really fortunate to have different positions or get different speaking engagements, and I always make it a point to put in like my bio, like the last sentence being like, and he's from Fontana, California. So I feel like I've had great examples of support directly to me from this city to be like, yo, like it's important that like we don't lie about where we're from, because there are there are kids here who like love where they're from, don't know any different, and then something happens something, they watch this show
Mm.
and see shit like that, and it's like, damn, I guess like it's not
It's
cool
embarrassing
to
to
be here.
be from here.
Yeah, and then you leave.
Yeah.
And you don't come back, and then shit doesn't work out. So I've been really fortunate. I've I don't have a lot of haters. I have a couple, but like mostly like I have a lot of people here who like love me, support me,
Mm-hmm.
and like it'd be disingenuous to not just directly give everything I possibly can back to the city that's really like raised me and molded me.
Yeah. Well, that's nice. I think that's really important because I do think it's like when people find success elsewhere, that's where they like attribute like their success. But I do believe it's where did you lay those bricks, right? That led you to have a solid foundation.
And it's also like when you're like I don't think I'm that successful yet, but I'm fortunate to have a couple of things going for me. And like I don't know, I feel like for me I've gotten to a point where like I'd love to get an award at Stanford. I'd love to be recognized by whatever publication, but like I'm at a point now where it's like if my cousin tells me that he's proud of me, like fuck everything else. Like if the people in my neighborhood are like, wow, like you're really doing something. Like that means way more to me than some governing body who I don't even know, like some list, some like cool like influencer thing. Like who cares? Like I actually grew up in these neighborhoods with these people, with this family, and like if they're like, wow, like you are really inspiring, or like you like make it like, oh, like I look my cousin the other day was at our grandfather's funeral a couple months ago and was like, hey, like like our kids, like we tell our kids like, yo, you should, and I was like, you should like do this, and I was like, that can't, like who cares about nothing else, like who cares about Stanford, like that in itself is a huge thing. And I don't know, maybe other people don't feel that way, but like
No,
when you have
that's
people
amazing.
who have seen you grow up,
Yeah.
like I feel like that's the best validation you could get.
I
you know?
agree. Yeah, I 100% like 100% agree with you because they saw you like at nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They literally saw you at nothing. So it's like it is comparable, like they could compare you to like the 10-year-old you who's maybe doing stupid things, jumping on top of couches, your mom yelling at you, sacando la chancla, to like now you're a graduate student at Stanford and you face like, all these obstacles and you're still able to succeed despite the adversity that you had to face. So,
And people telling you like, oh, you know what? Like I
want my kids
my
to be like
kids
that.
to see you as a role model. Like I feel like that in itself is so
Yeah, it's
huge
huge.
because you're molding a younger generation. I feel like
They see it's possible because you're their cousin.
exactly, and you came from here, and I feel like I didn't feel that sense until the podcast of like, especially when Saul, like I remember I asked him, I was like, why IE like in Besties or why IE in Friends, and he's like, oh, because I want to represent the Inland Empire, and I didn't really get it for a while, and now it's like you said, like I love when people are like, what does IE in Besties mean? And I'm like, let me fucking tell you, like this is what it means, this is where we're from, and even just like being surrounded, I feel like it was kind of like a random thing to of out of nowhere. I was surrounded by people who were so proud of the our home that it really passed on to me of like now I'm like, yeah, I'm from the Inland Empire. Oh, you're from LA? No, I'm from the Inland Empire. And it's like no beef to LA, but it does hurt, like when people from LA want to bash the Inland Empire because like I've said before, like it's not a competition, like we're just trying to show up and you guys are trying to show off, and it's not like that because you guys already have that. You guys already have the, like I feel like being from LA and being grown up in LA and especially in this media space, like you already have that credibility of like I'm already here in the place where everyone comes to make it.
Yeah.
And we're just like your cool, friendly neighbors just hanging out, trying to make it for ourselves too.
Yeah. And I don't want to like go past that point. Like I actually do think it's more important to get the recognition from like your family and from your friends than like
Random
a
group of
paper
men.
or even something that is really prestigious because they're just honoring the prestige of you, and it's like your family's honoring like the little you, because I get that compliment from my family all the time and like it's like humbling.
It's emotional.
Yeah, it really is emotional. Like when my cousins tell me like, oh, I tell the girls like I want them to be like you, and then I'm like, and then I talk to them, and then they're like, oh, I'm like, oh, they at first I'm like, oh, they're just like me because I went to Coachella's, and like at first I'm like, oh, that's what the fuck they think is cool because they're young, and then you talk to them, and then like, well, what do you guys want to be in life? Like I don't know, but I like what you're doing. I mean, you look like you're doing this, da 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 da. And it's just like different ages, you know? And like I try to talk to my little nieces, like, you need to be smart, you need to be this, you need to focus on school. It's really important. Like, I feel like I want to be a product of like education. I feel like education like absolutely lifted me out of poverty. Like I'm doing things at 27 that my mom couldn't even imagine like at 47. Like I'm gonna be real with you, she couldn't even imagine at 47. Like it's from two different lives, you know? And that's what I'm saying. Like I I really am a firm believer in education. Like that has transformed my life. Obviously there's different avenues, but like that's the path that has led me to, I think, success. Like obviously this podcast, I'm like super proud to be a part of it. But like if they took away the podcast from me, like I would have my career.
Oh, 100%.
You know, and I feel like that's what I'm so grateful for, because I also feel like my nieces, I don't want them to just dream about like things that count on the validation of others. You know, I feel like my education validates me. Like I feel proud like that I have a career, you know, because my mom came here and was picking cotton and grapes and couldn't even sit on a toilet from all the pain, and I'm just with my backache because all I do is sit on my ass all day. You know,
Yeah.
like that's a privilege.
Yeah, I think it also comes just getting older, just like having different perspectives of like, I don't know, just being like, I want my city to be proud of me, I want my family to be proud of me, I want to have a family, I want to be happy, I want to be healthy, like just kind of being more simple about like, it's great. I'm so super duper career driven, probably too much. But I am like, I don't know, just trying to be like, what's really important, you know? And like, even we started the podcast talking about Italy. Um, I like woke up. We are in the Amalfi Coast. It was like my sleeping schedule was super off. So it's like 4 a.m. I'm just like looking out this balcony, and I got so emotional because I was like, I wish my dad was here, or I wish my brothers were here, or like why can't, like I'm seeing this and I feel terrible because like I can't bring everyone like with me. And so like, what are ways we can bring folks with each other? Like how can we bring everyone? You know, like how do you I just try to really like be generous, like as much as like I can be, because I've already like changed my life.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, well, like now it's like, well, how can we multiply this? You know, like it's no like it's fun for a little bit, and then at least to me, it'll be fun, and then it's like it's not that fun. Like I don't have my people with me. Like who cares? Like I wish everyone was here with me, and I wish we all like felt like I was like walking around Florence, and I was like, and you've been to Italy, so fountains are called Fontana, which I didn't know, so that's like whatever. And I just, so you keep seeing Fontana everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
the Fontana Trevi. I mean, that's why we have the little
the little,
fountain.
and
that's cute.
I was just like people were like taking photos of it, and I was like, I feel about my city honestly how these tourists feel about this city. Like I really am just like, the people are like, what's your favorite place to travel? And I was like, Fontana, California. For real. And I don't know, like I just want more people to feel that way.
Yeah.
And I feel like we should just be proud of our like accomplishments. Like I even think you, like your family comes from like entrepreneurs, and you literally did your own fucking business. Like, you know, you started your trucking shit, like now you're doing your bar, like you're literally entrepreneur. Like I feel like there's just so many things that we should like be proud of ourselves, you know. And I think like we shouldn't like ever compare like anyone's successes, because I feel like we came from something.
100%.
Shout out Great Spirits Bartending.
Shout out Great Spirits
Shout out Great
Bartending.
Spirits
But
Bartending.
honestly, like I feel like even like I mean, I'm always at my cousin's restaurant, but that was the restaurant that my dad bought, which is why we moved to Fontana.
Yeah.
Because of that one, it's Las Islas Marias Fontana. Sometimes my Mexican ass Fontana.
Get the langostinos with garlic.
Yeah,
That's all I'm gonna say.
It's on Sierra and Merrill, and I love it. And my mom gets livid, but I'm like, this restaurant is my favorite restaurant out of every single one, including my parents, including my like uncles, cousins, all of them. I love the one in Fontana the most. Like I love it here, and I love shouting it out because it's what brought me here, and it's what created all this other life that I've had. And I do love that I come from entrepreneurship, and I totally attest that to my mom. My mom is like unstoppable, truly. My mom is the most unstoppable woman I've ever met. And I feel like before I would always be like, man, I have all these bad qualities. Like my mom gave me this, my dad gave me this. And it took a lot of self-reflection to be like, okay, but what are all the good qualities? And I think that's when I started getting into that entrepreneur mindset of like, I really want to have the support, which is the biggest privilege ever from my, parents. But two, like, what am I going to do with this? And I loved, honestly, like, I feel like one of the happiest times, if not the happiest times of my life, was when I had my food truck. I love that people were coming here. And I was getting people from like Temecula. And I'm like, yo, people are driving out to, I mean, I live in borderline Bloomington, but like people are driving to Bloomington, California for my tacos. Like, it was just the most prideful moment I've ever had. I loved my food truck.
Mm-hmm.
And I still do. And, you never know.
It's going to come back bigger and better. Restaurant.
If it does come back, I'm definitely going to be loud about it. So
I
you
will
guys
definitely
will know.
be there. Mr. A,
Yeah.
worldwide.
Hey, dale. Hey, Mr. Pitbull, Mr. 305. I want to cordially invite you to my reopening of my food truck.
Hey,
low key, I might invite him. Shit, I'm gonna make an invite.
I think send him an invite. Hey, I'm sure his address is somewhere.
I'm
like, let's check.
Hey, I respect
doing
him.
Some
Okay.
soccer shit. Yeah. Well, before we go, any final message? Because I do like the idea of like building political efficacy in people and really having them believe in their vote, and like the importance of like voicing that, and also realizing that we're sometimes in cycles, and even like our cities are in cycles, and that's like something that like is cyclical, right? Like even our individual lives are affected by like our community and like what goes on.
Yeah. I'd say that the coolest thing to do is be happy. And like for us to be happy as a community, we need to advocate for ourselves. So like you're not too cool to vote. And it's not that hard. Like it is important. And even if there are things on the ballot that you're like, I don't even know what this is, there's lots of great organizations, Instagrams, voter guides to make it easy for you. There are things to share with your cousins, with your friends, with your mom, your dad, your grandparents, your uncles, your aunts. It's something that we need to do a better job at advocating for. And also, it's fair that you feel like it's cumbersome, it's too much. Like, why are they talking to us now? There's a lot of ways that the system doesn't make it easy or incentivizes us to vote. But it's important, bro. Like, we gotta vote. We gotta at least be more civically engaged, especially for 2026. So almost treat it like a practice year this year, because in 2026 there's gonna be a lot of local things going on. So please vote, or even honestly, for real, like, do you just consider it? Just have a thought about it. Like, it's coming up. Everyone's talking about it anyway. You might as well go do it. And if you're looking for a opportunity or just a reason to just be a little more informed, to do some more reading, this is the perfect time. So just consider it. We got a couple of big years coming up in the Inland Empire. A lot of exciting things coming. So it's a good time to be active here.
Yeah, John's gonna be back next year.
Yeah, big things coming.
I'll leave you guys at that. But also, I want to remind everyone that you're voting for not just yourself, but also your family members, the people you love, the people you care about, your children. So keep that in mind when that thought does come of, should I vote? And also, just as a woman, I think women are rising definitely in this election, and I love to see it. So go out to vote next week. I'm sorry. I had literally a thought when you were speaking. I totally slipped my mind. But Isis?
I just want to echo that there's more than the presidential election. You can vote for your city council members. You can vote for your DAs. You can vote literally, like, even your sheriffs. Like, you can vote if you're like, you know what, fuck Kamala, fuck Trump, fuck all of them, then vote for what's actually going to affect you next year, January 1st, 2025, directly. And that will be the people at the very local level. As someone who used to work for a local politician, they really do make direct impact at a very local level. There's a lot of events, there's a lot of things that you could do to get involved. Maybe it doesn't have to be in a presidential election year, it could just be any other time. I mean, your voice is constantly needing to be heard. There's constantly ordinances that are passed across the city. So those are like small little laws. So you can make an impact, you can make a change. And I firmly believe that if you have the ability to vote and you're not abstaining because you're against the genocide or, your personal morals, you should vote. Like 100%. I'm a firm believer. Even though I have to admit, I did vote incorrectly the first time I ever voted, so it didn't even count. I never said that out loud. I had to say that right now.
It's okay.
You gotta let it off your chest.
I had to let it. It's been eating me aside.
We're learning. I'm not even registered to vote in Fontana yet because I moved. I'm going day up. There's no excuse. Like,
No
you can
excuse.
go
Provision
do it.
of outlet.
And if Pitbull cares, you should care.
And Pitbull wants to remind you that there's YouTube University as well. And lots of people make videos explaining the props, explaining how to fill out your ballot. So there really is no excuse when you're like, well, I don't know how to do that, because there's resources everywhere.
Literally, just fucking Google, and if not, ask ChatGPT, where can I find information about my voter rights? And it'll send you, even though it's gonna like cost you about 20 liters of water. But look, you know what? We're eventually gonna be fighting for water.
Unas cosas por las otras.
Yeah, but that's for another episode. So hopefully this was more motivating than demotivating, you know.
Very educational. I think
it's
you guys literally, I was just in awe listening to you guys. I love being surrounded by people who are so, one, well spoken, and two, very educated on what, you know, they're speaking on. So thank you guys for sharing all that knowledge with us.
Thanks for having me on. Best podcast in the world.
Hey, I love John. He always hypes us.
Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide.
And that's not Mr. Worldwide saying it, okay? It's Mr. Fontana saying it. So y'all heard it here from the one, the only John. So thanks, besties.
Where can they find you, John, now that you're no longer that mysterious?
I am no longer mysterious because we got big things coming. At John and Stuff, JONANDSTUFF. I'm sure I'll be tagged in things. I also was going to ask y'all should retag me in things because I was mysterious, but I'm no longer mysterious. Find me on all social platforms at John and Stuff, LinkedIn, John the Garcia, Reddit. Hit me up. And you'll be seeing me around more and more here in the city.
Love. And you can find me at Steph Scott Milk on all platforms.
And you can find me, I forgot. I have like 7 Instagrams.
The Isis Noelia.
The Isis Noelia. NOHELIA. And H because ain't no hoe gonna stop me. Anyways, I'm just kidding. I just started to come up with something.
Thank you, besties, so much for watching. We will see you guys next week. Dale.
Bye. Mr. Worldwide.